Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. The MiSTer stream. Maybe. We'll see. Appreciate everyone joining again. We'll see if the stream pans out. For some of you who are in Discord, yeah, we're having some internet problems tonight again, which is a welcome change since I haven't had any problems before. Jinx, I guess. No, I've had the internet problems on and off. I have reduced the quality of the video a little bit tonight to see if I can kind of intercept a little bit of the issues. So unfortunately not as sharp as I would like, but we'll give it a good college try and see what happens. It was fine for last stream, no problem at all. But then earlier tonight, it just came back with a vengeance, just really fluctuating up speed, which of course is the bane of any content creator, is poor upload speed. So we'll see what happens. But welcome back to a MiSTer stream, and it's like the MiSTer never stops evolving. There's a new core coming out all the time. There's arcade games coming out. There are new updates to existing console cores, everything in between. So the fact that you can now basically play Saturn on the MiSTer, I think, is kind of like one of those ridiculous things that actually happened. They were almost like dismissing it, I think, in the beginning because it seems so ridiculous and preposterous that someone would be able to figure out how to get the Saturn shoehorned onto the MiSTer device. Because to me, the MiSTer at least started out mostly 8-bit, 16-bit, kind of things that you're used to. Then when we got the I'm just forgetting words now, the Sony PlayStation core, that was just like, oh my goodness, there's so much, stuff and so many games available. And that core is rock solid now. It has so many options in it and so much compatibility. It's pretty amazing. Robert Pipe, the developer there, has done wonders with it. And it is a great way to play PlayStation now. It is a fantastic way to experience it, even if you don't have the original hardware. And the fact that then the Saturn, which it's kind of, to my understanding, I'm not super into the Saturn, pretty complex architecture. It has multiple graphical chips and a whole bunch of stuff, intended mostly for 2D, which sort of shoehorned in to be able to do 3D as well. Not that it's not powerful, but it's a complex system, to my understanding. So the fact that it was able to then the SRG 320, one of the main developers behind the MiSTer platform in general, is basically working on making the Saturn fully playable. And as you can see in the top left corner here right now, we do have basically the MiSTer running Saturn. So for the sake of demonstration, I do have a Saturn on hand. Look at this. Whoa. So it's funny because we bought the Saturn, I think, for $40 now, it says here now, from a local game shop years ago. And it's, collecting for the Saturn is near impossible. It's super expensive, so it's one of those things where we have a few games for it, and that's it. Now, there are ways to play backups and things like that on directly on real hardware. But having it directly in the MiSTer is very appealing because you basically have, the entirety of the library eventually here was what I'm hoping, because already now there's a lot of games that are compatible and playable, and we'll test quite a few tonight. If you have requests, let me know. But Evening Bruce Lucas, welcome. We will see if the stream holds up here. Right now, you might be the only person joining and watching. Who knows? There's one concurrent viewer, so you might be the person. Or unless this thing is not updating very quickly for me, who knows? But the idea of exploring this in a hardware closed layer, because we've been able to emulate the Saturn for a while. I think there's different emulators that do a pretty good job, but being able to specifically play it in a hardware closed format is a pretty amazing thing. So I'm eating Sea Bluebeard. Before the Saturn will be in the Genesis. Even David Jacob, we're getting a few more people. So now there's a crowd. Whoa, don't stop crowding me. I'm getting a little flustered here. But to my understanding, you basically got the Master System, Genesis, Saturn, Dreamcast, and then of course Sega went bye-bye on the hardware front, right? And then the Game Gear as well in the mix there. That's to my understanding. And I was not necessarily a Nintendo kid, but I grew up in Scandinavia, and Nintendo had just a chokehold on the entirety of Scandinavia. And so because of a weird licensing deal that happened there, I do not have a 32X, eating Johnny. So I've only really experienced the 32X on the core on the MiSTer, which also is excellent. We did stream that last year now, and that played phenomenally well. The 32X core is really good, and now, again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not a Sega expert. To my understanding, the 32X, or the Saturn, is basically two 32Xs, more or less duct taped together with more stuff. But there are basically the VDP unit that's in the 32X is double up in the Saturn. And that's what kind of gives the Saturn horsepower, which is part of why it's complicated to develop for. Again, don't take my word for it. I'm sure it's a lot more complex than that. That's my layman's understanding of it. So that made the Saturn quite complicated, and the PlayStation was a lot easier by contrast. So we got a game library on the PS1 that's just ridiculous. Evening Super Molotro. Yeah, and I used the MiSTer quite a bit, both from a streaming perspective, but we used it a lot for like just being able to play so many things on it now. And it's one of those, like, it just depends on what you're into at the moment or what mood you're in. And in this case here now, it's fun to explore Evening Mr. Never See Me. Mostly just me rambling on about the Saturn, I guess, so far. And a few more people joining up here now, but we haven't gotten into games yet, so, you know, missed much besides me talking, which, of course, why you're here, right? But it's being able to explore the platforms that I never had. Like, for example, I mentioned in my MiSTer video, like, I'm probably not going to get an Atari ST unless one happens to just show up locally for a great price or something. And being able to explore it on the MiSTer is awesome because it's pretty hardware closed versus emulation. Not saying emulation's bad. But Sega CD, for example, as well, is one I would love to get into, but you got to have the console, of course, which pretty much it sounds like they all need maintenance or recaps, and it's more work to do that versus here you can just plug and play the entire Sega CD library flawlessly. So there's something to be said for that, and I think something that gets lost in translation often is how easy the MiSTer is to use once you have it configured. And configuration isn't even that big a deal. You buy the parts, plug it in, and there you go. Oh, interesting. It might be because I was eating Revenant. I was going back and forth, even Doppler. I was back and forth with the stream for a couple of times here because, like I mentioned in Discord, the stream, or the bandwidth is not holding up. Right now it is. I lowered the quality on the stream, lower than I usually do, to see if I can kind of meet in the middle. So this is not a 1440p stream, which is kind of a bummer. But I'm trying to kind of meet in the middle to see if I can maintain the bandwidth and see what happens. So, yeah, so that's where it's so cool to explore these things, and also eating Lone Wolf Nico, to mess with these systems that are just makes it easy to dip your toe in it. Because yes, don't get me wrong, I love original hardware. I mean, I think a lot of us do. And the fact that you can just experience an entire platform like this pretty easily without messing with original hardware is a nice touch, even with having original hardware. I mean, I have a Saturn right here. But, like, again, games for this are redonkulous anymore. And, of course, there's optional backup things. You know, tons of optional backup things. I probably will get, like, a Fenrir OD in this thing eventually. But being able to do this so easily on the MiSTer is a great boon. As far as controllers go, I think the biggest thing with that I found is that just, like, you kind of got to wrap your head around. First, you have to configure the controller for the MiSTer itself, enable it in there. Once it is enabled and configured in the MiSTer, you have to then in each core go and configure it. Once you've done that, like here, I have this 8-bit DOE, like, that looks like the Saturn Pro controller. That works great for this one, right? Once this is configured, it just kind of works. And then you're set. Then you don't have to mess with this again. Once you plug this controller in now into this core, you're done. But if I were to start up a core I'd never used this controller in, I'm trying to think of one like, say I never played Game Gear with this one. Well, it wouldn't work until I configure it in the Game Gear core. But once it's configured there, you're set. Then you can just plug this back in. And each controller has its own ID. And once that ID is detected, it should pick up all the settings. So in theory, it's plug and play. But I'd be lying if I said it worked 100% of the time. I think it's very accurate and works pretty well. But, so yeah, we are basically right now playing on the Saturn core, then on the MiSTer, which I have to preface this. This is a beta core, okay? I cannot stress that enough here now. This is not a complete experience. And it's amazing how far it's gotten already. The fact that I am booting a Saturn on this little device now, playing it, a lot of games work flawlessly, a lot don't. We're probably extremely likely run into compatibility problems. Missing graphics, crackling audio, that's all fine. This core takes a long time to develop, and SRG 320 has done an amazing job so far But it's still a long way to go before it's like feature complete. Like you look at the PlayStation Core, the PS1, it's great. It's awesome. It works awesome. Now, Robert spent a lot of time getting there. SRT 320 is getting there as well, but it has a ways to go, I think. But I just want to, like, I have no expectation any particular game is going to work. We're just going to test a few games and see what works. Some games work awesome. Some don't. And that's just to be expected. So if anyone here is crackling audio, if you see graphical popping in, that's not a Saturn thing necessarily. It might be just a core here now. So take anything you see tonight with a grain of salt. Some games, as I said, are virtually flawless, but it might crash like, an hour in. We don't know. It's just as they find bugs and are fixing them as they progress, more and more games will become fully playable. So, and I think that it has a lot of problems because you look here now, for example, of just using it. Like, do you buy a Saturn, which at this point is more expensive, probably a decent one, potentially service it, get an ODE, or buy the original games? You're in a lot of money. If you just want a turnkey way to play it in a hardware close format, this is going to be an awesome way to do it soon. Plus all the scaling, and I'm playing on a PVM over here while streaming, and I can do that easily. And you get, RGB quality. So, someone asked earlier, Bruce, on the resolution. The Saturn is a 240p console, and it is 480i at most, correct? So it is very much like the PS1 in that sense. It outputs almost exclusively to 240p. I've run into one game that uses 480i. That could be a lot more than I know, too. But overall, expect this to be a 240p console. So what I'm doing now as well, I actually have a RetroNAS configured, and all the images for this are sitting on that. I'm not sure. I don't know if I have that one. I can start downloading. Well, actually, I'm not going to download anything right now because I'm terrified of my bandwidth just flaking out. So I can look on that website because I don't think I have that game. Let me look. I don't see in the list. There it is. All right. I'm going to start grabbing that now. Should be done in about 30 seconds. And then it will have it available. We can try it tonight. So that's the benefit of doing this kind of thing, especially being able to drop ISO files, or Q files in this case, or bin files onto a shared network drive. And when it comes to the MiSTer, you get into those CD libraries, right? PlayStation, CD32, not CD32. Well, it does work as well. The 32X, not 32X, got a Sega CD, Saturn, etc. And it's just, that could be a thing that eats up a lot of disk space, and you have an SD card on here. It's nice to have that separately. So yes, Revenant, that is a thought that has struck my mind as well. I scoured the house earlier today to find any computers, anything like that, turning them off. I've been turning off smart devices. Correct. Before I blame the ISP, I don't want to put aside that I don't have some random malware infection in a house somewhere. So I am slowly but surely peeling away devices to see. We unplugged the secondary router we use for extra wireless coverage, things like that. I'm trying to just peel away anything. So now, so far, in the 15 minutes the stream has been running now, which is just me blathering, I guess, I haven't seen a single dropped frame. But I am running at about half the quality that I normally do. So we'll see. Let's see. Toy Soldiers? Probably something like that, too. Because if anyone knows games to try, I am a very novice when it comes to Saturn. I never had one. I never really experienced one until much later, and I only have a couple of games on it. So I haven't played much Saturn at all. Probably. Who knows? I did unplug in like a random smart lamp I had here now that was kind of flickering. I'm like, maybe that's the problem. It's probably uploading my entire network to some random place. But this is all on the network. Which is pretty slick because, again, this is a, pretty large images because if you look at it, you're basically dealing with CD images for these. This is CD size, so each game is like, 100 to 500 to 600 meg each, right? Eating My Boy, welcome. So in this case here, I think that one that we do want to try, and actually I have to do this too, because there's a lot of games on here. Again, some are going to work, some are not. We're going to start with one that I know works, which is pretty cool. It's a fan translation of Symphony of the Night, because Symphony of the Night, I didn't realize, I did not have a US release. Am I wrong on the Saturn? It's a Japanese release that was translated, so we actually need to... This is something that I think might come in the future, auto-switching the BIOS, or the region. But in this case here, what happens is that if you set it to USA and you boot a non-US game, it's going to complain this is not compatible because it's not compatible. You have to switch to region for it. And I imagine we're going to see features like this creeping in where it auto-switches detected, etc., etc. But I mean, right now, I think he's focused mostly on making games bootable, right? So this is just a small issue. And then there's a lot of features missing in the core beyond that because we're looking for core, the core functionality for the core is not there yet. So either way, we're going to set it to Japan, and then reboot it, and then we should be able to load that game. And the drive door is open. Whoop. I guess the barn door is open. Then we're going to try and load this. And I have spent quite a bit now just, getting games of some variety to try out on the core here because it's fun to explore it to see what options we have. So 3 Dirty Dwarfs is done. So I'm going to... I'm going to drop the 3 Dirty Dwarfs on there. Yeah. You have Sega Rally Championship. We're going to try that tonight as well. And yeah, Netgear, the Netgear router we have is pretty old, so I might just bite the bullet and get a new one tomorrow just to exclude it as an issue because the router is certainly not new. All right, we are extracting 3 Dirty Dwarfs right now, so that should be available here shortly. But right now, we are going to play some Symphony of the Night, fan translated. The Sega Saturn version is a little unique compared to the PlayStation version. And this game, to my limited testing, looks to work basically flawlessly. And again, I don't have a real version of this game to compare to. I can't just boot it up and do a cross comparison. But to me, to my untrained layman eye, it plays fine. So, interestingly about that, Bruce, based on what I saw, there are no licensed Star Wars games for the Saturn. I might be incorrect on that, maybe I missed it, but I did not see any of them. So this is then a fan translation, so I don't think it's saved it now. And of course, with this 8-bit dual controller, which looks like the Genesis 6-button / Saturn, this works perfectly for this. But I have to do data select. I don't know if even save RAM works yet. It might not, but it doesn't really matter. This is also working really well on the CRT output, by the way. And you'll see some black borders. Some games are not aligned correctly. That has to do with video timing, and that's going to get there eventually. That's not something that you would expect to be there right away. The cool thing here is you can pick your character. I was not aware of that. That actually lets you select who you play as. And in this case here, it's pretty fun to play as, for example, Maria, because she has a whole different moveset compared to... And you'll see some, like, blocky textures, just some weird stuff going on. So I shouldn't say this is perfect, obviously, then saying that now. But it worked closely when I tried it earlier. And again, you might have crackling audio, missing graphics, some sound is too loud, things like that. And that will come in due time. It's complicated making this. But it looks to be... You can do a whole bunch of different moves that you can't as Alucard here, so... Yeah, there's a whole bunch of, like, special moves, and you use mana, and your health looks to be much higher. So it's very different, but there is a awesome Vampire Kill remix here. I have to turn it up a little bit on my side, because I want to hear this. I'm going to turn it up a little bit in the stream too. Stand by. This is all a little bit of a... Turn up a little more once the zombies are on. There we go. Yeah, it's Vampire Killer on the dance floor. That's pretty amazing, actually. good is that? I just love this rendition of Vampire Killer. I was not aware. And this is the fun part for me with these cores, is exploring libraries that you normally wouldn't. And then we get stuff like this that was not happening during testing. So now we have yellow. Enjoy. We'll see if the screen transition helps clear that out. And that's what's going to happen. I did not get that when I tested this originally. We'll do a screen transition and see if it disappears. There we go. Problem solved. And that's what's going to happen, right? It's still beta. Very much beta. And certain things, they might, you know, fix one thing that breaks another thing. And that's to be expected. But the fact that we can do this already, the fact that it boots and plays games is pretty amazing in itself. I saw a picture from SRG 320. He was showing, like, the development thing he was working on, and I think so anyway. And it showed, like, the billion wires coming out of the Saturn, because he's trying to intercept every single signal coming from the chips. Because the way I understand it with the MiSTer is that it's not duplicating a chip in that sense, like on the individual chip layer, but it's duplicating the exact output of the chip, I think. So it's trying to capture all that, and then you're basically doing that on the hardware layer, and that's what lets you duplicate it on such a close level to the real hardware. Versus then emulation, which is like I'm emulating the end result, and I don't really care how we get there. But that's what allows the MiSTer to be so hardware accurate. I just love this rendition. It's amazing. And we're probably going to do a lot of game hopping tonight, so if that makes everyone's head spin, sorry about that, but I think that I'm just curious on a lot of games. We're going to find a lot of games that don't work at all. I certainly found a few that just were so corrupted that was just weird. It's like, who decided to put in this? And maybe this is part of the fan translation. I'm not sure if the original Japanese won the original one. So, you're not wrong there, right? It's basically, not necessarily, because what they do, as I understand it, like, they look at the chip schematics, right? And we're not trying to replicate the chip, like, 100% exactly in that sense. Because in some cases that might be too complex or near impossible, but if you can hardware duplicate the output of it, I could be wrong there, but that's the way I understood it, then you can get so close. But the accuracy, of course, is tied to, you know, how skilled the developer with core is and what they do to make it get there. One of the main things that you'll notice is different here, playing as Maria, is that some of the things aren't there items, but you have more things available. Like, the moveset now, of course, is quite advanced already. Alucard would not be having this many abilities already. Static loading screen. Now we get to the standard. This is the Symphony of Night y'all know and love, right? But being able to play as different characters like this adds a lot of replay value. I certainly have not gotten very far like this. Oops. And I don't know how far you can take it. How? Of course, we do have the checkerboard transparency. The we don't have real transparency, so it uses checkerboarding to accomplish that. I did not jump there. There we go. There's only so much. You mean Boca Retro? Welcome. So, it's really fun to explore. Is she doing like a gun? Like this when she shoots? It sure looks like it. It's fun to explore platforms that you might otherwise not mess with. So, oh good, someone, evening account name, welcome. No, I don't stream on Twitch. I stream just on YouTube because I like being difficult. But no, it's just a choice I made at some point, just to kind of basically stick with streaming from. Oop, I can't get through there. From YouTube. Ow. If someone knows good things about the Saturn, or is knowledge about the Saturn, do spill it. But yeah, I am very noob-like when it comes to knowing much about the Saturn. Just from what I watch from videos and stuff. I never had one, right? So, Alright, do you have any favorite games, Boca, you want me to try tonight? Because I'm going to try a smattering of games. I'm probably not going to play much of any game here in general. Maybe get to the first boss here. But, because it's fun to see which games work or not. And I do have quite a lot on... That was something. I think I did a... Shoryuken or something? I don't know. Shoryuken? She has a different moveset. And that's something I've always enjoyed about the Castlevania Symphony of the Night, is that there are so many different, like, special moves you can do that changes the movement completely. Whoa, whoa. But I mean, this already, the fact that we're doing hardware emulation on this, is, I think, extremely impressive that it just works. Whee! That's the wrong way. I don't remember my Symphony of the Night. What a great game it is. It doesn't matter where you play it. Symphony of the Night, you can never go wrong with that. Whoa. And Maria, of course, is much more powerful. I'm not gonna... Oh, sorry, Bruce. Sorry to hear that. I'll get it eventually back. It's... You gotta prioritize, right? This is hobby and, you know, toys at the end of the day. I don't even know save room. I don't even know if the SRAM works yet, so I don't think we can save yet, which for most games is probably fine, but I'm not sure you would sit down and play a huge RPG on this one yet, so... Oops, fine. Alright, we'll fight the boss, and then we will try a different game. We'll go through some of the... Yep, this is the MiSTer. So this is the beta core for the MiSTer FPGA, and that's what I'm using today. I'm using a wireless controller here. This is not real hardware. Yes, Tomb Raider is definitely here, available. Wow, that's very powerful for her. Wow. Feels like cheating. Slow down. Oh. So yeah, there you go. There's that. So we're going to do a reset here. And we're going to switch to region again to USA. Oops. I think, again, it's like, you know, it's easy to rag on it now working in some games. Some games are not going to work. They're going to have glitches like we saw earlier here with the yellow of the whole entire screen. But to me, I feel like blown away at the fact that this works. So now it's complaining here using a Japan region disk in the USA region one, which is fine. We're going to switch around here now. And I did load up quite a few games here. So let's do Sega Rally Championship, because I think that's a kind of defining title to me on the Saturn, because it is so close to the arcade. And it generally works. I did notice there's some audio glitching in here, some crackling. If the audio gets really bad, we will just, you know, I'll turn it down or we'll quit out of it. But when I was racing in the game, it seemed to work just fine. Again, the fact that this is working in the first place, I think is just like mind-blowing. And I had the same reaction when we did the PlayStation, right? Because to me, the MiSTer at least started out as a 8-bit, 16-bit thing, right? It is phenomenal, and it has extremely accurate representation of a lot of the 8-bit and 16-bit consoles. Like, if you want SNES and Genesis, it's amazing. NES, you know, all that stuff. And the fact that we now are getting to 32-bit consoles, and for those not aware, so Robert Pipe, the developer of the PlayStation core, which is a really good core, he also did the Game Boy Advance and a whole bunch of other ones too. He's working on N64 core now, which... If you felt the Saturn and the PlayStation was mind-blowing, the N64 potentially being available on the MiSTer is just beyond. And this device keeps adding features, so that's what makes it so cool, which is why I love it so much, because you could be, like, in a mood to play these games, and then, like, you know, I'm just gonna play with the Amiga core and just mess with that. Or, no, today I'm gonna play arcade games on it. You can do all that, and it's really close to real hardware. Closer than regular emulation. So, it's all pretty amazing. And the fact that we might see an N64 core on here is just insane. If anyone can pull it off, it's going to be Robert. He did an amazing job with the PlayStation core and the other ones he's worked on. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if it's guaranteed yet, the N64, because I think he uses his own home-built emulator to test feasibility, I think, before he starts porting it to the MiSTer itself. But I have high confidence in him that he will pull it off. And at that point, we'll have PlayStation, N64, a Saturn, and, you know, yeah, so I think there's definitely some crackling going on here. So enjoy. I'll turn it down if it gets too bad, but we'll have to survive some crackling to see the glory that is Sega Rally here on the MiSTer. I think it disappears as we get into the game. If it's too bad, I will have to turn down the volume, but yeah, there you go. It's just, here's Sega Rally Championship Edition running in. So this one, we can do video processing and can load a preset here for, here's Sony PVM. And I'm not sure how well that's going to come across. So this is PVM's thick scan lines, and it's actually pretty close to what I'm looking at on my PVM. But I'm not sure how well that comes across with the compression from YouTube and everything. So that's kind of why you generally don't run with scan lines. And it adds up to be a nice feature experience. The one I do really like is the oops, that's not what I want to do. Preset. The one I like is kind of JVC that gives you that shadow mask filter, which looks, I think, really good, because that's the kind of CRT I have and I like too. Like, yes, fat scan lines are cool, don't get me wrong, I love them too. But for regular play, I almost prefer the JVC shadow mask filter a little better, because it just kind of blends it out more. It's not as, like, you know, crystal sharp. Now, I should say the really fat scan line stuff like that, with the absence of scan lines, we're getting technical, works really well for 16-bit and very pixelated graphics. But when you get to the 3D era, I think that it works better a little bit with these kind of things, but it's personal preference. Obviously, you have the option. So let me know how this looks so I can switch it back, of course. So we're getting into racing here, but yeah, you're going to have audio cutouts and random stuff. Sometimes the music... Chat disconnected. Ooh, successfully connected. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe my stuff's going on. Whatever. Okay. Don't know. So yeah, the music was playing just fine, and now it just kind of vanished. We have to do the desert stage. I mean, that's kind of like the key one, right? So, see the music comes back here. Hopefully people are still able to chat and see what's going on, because yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but I was dropped.
3, 2, 1, go!
There's the music.
Easy right. Easy left. Easy right. Wow.
There's the music again. Sorry, I'm looking at chat. If anyone streamed, playing racing games while streaming is very difficult. But I think this is quite accurate, at least to my untrained eyes, for how Sega Rally plays on the real MiSTer, or sorry, MiSTer, on the real Saturn. The music is a little low, but I think that's just a side effect of this particular game on this particular course so far. I mean, I'm sure that will get fixed eventually too, but...
Easy left, easy right.
You gotta have the turbo flutter as you let go. For those not familiar with that, what that actually is that on turbo and rally cars back in the day, whoa, that's good. That's kind of how, yeah, one of the sound effects there is very much like crumbling. They have basically, they let the turbos continually spool in rally. They don't wait for the turbo to spool up, so it's just constantly running. So then when you let go, you get that extra bypass valve letting out the extra boost pressure to not overspin the turbo, and that's you get a fluttering. It's very classic for the rally cars, to me. But I mean, this has the possibility here to be a phenomenal way to experience the Saturn's library once it's all said and done. And yes, it's taken a little while, but I mean, SRG-320 is in Ukraine, so he is, you know, the fact he's still working on this is pretty amazing. And this will come up pretty apparent now, I was never very good at Sega Rally. But I think that the arcade machine that ran Sega Rally, it basically ran some sort of modified version of the Saturn, right? I mean, it's basically Saturn hardware in that arcade machine, which is why some of these ports on the Saturn are so close to the real arcade. Because this is basically what would be running on the arcade machine. Whee! So yeah, you're gonna hear some crackling, some weird audio once in a while, and again, that's perfectly fine. That's what to be expected from a core still in development. The fact that we get this already, I think, is pretty amazing. And there's new fixes coming every once in a while. We're using the latest beta nightly he has, which I think is about 2 weeks old now. So we're running the latest one. There's new ones coming out here and there. And just download the new one from the Discord when it comes out and try it out. You can, of course, be a Patreon supporter to support him as he develops this. And SRG-320 is one of the main driving forces behind the MiSTer, not the original, well, creator of it, so. Finish! I love, what I'm falling in love with now is the cheesy, over-the-top, like, 80s, like, I don't want to call it, like, Asian soft rock or whatever, but it's like, it feels like the console generation from this time, from, like, the PlayStation, the Saturn, the Dreamcast, the Xbox, even the Xbox, leading into the later, early 2000s. But that late 90s stuff, or mid to late 90s, like, cheesy rock, best like way I can describe it, is game over, yeah. The first time I saw Saturn and played it was my brother and his friends had rented it or something, or I brought it to his apartment, and I saw Sega Saturn there and saw the Sega Rally, and then I lost and I got the game over, yeah thing, and I'm like, wow, this is the greatest console ever known, I ever made, the greatest game ever made. The music is just great. We'll do another practice. This time with the Lancia Delta Integral, or the Lancia. Like as far as like this version from the arcade version, or just on the MiSTer?
3, 2, 1, go!
Whoa!
Very long, easy right.
I'm gonna have the game over, yeah, stuck in my head now all night.
Long, easy right, maybe.
Long, easy right, maybe.
Very long, easy left.
So what's, does anyone have any suggestions for the next game? Otherwise I'll just randomly pick one. There's several that, you know, I've thought about trying. Because I've tried a few games that just flat out wouldn't work. And that's, again, I have zero rags or complaints on this core development. I mean, this is complicated. Again, he's in Ukraine. He's got a lot of priorities. The fact that he's even gotten this far is amazing. And the prospect of actually having a full working Saturn in MiSTer form like this is nothing short of incredible. So, but it still means we have a lot of games that just will not work yet. Yeah, you can't. This is definitely arcade style because you can't miss a single one there.
Easy right, easy left.
Also interesting something with the graphics on the Saturn. As I understand it, it doesn't use your standard triangle polygons. It uses square polygons, which was made it have a unique set of graphics compared to everything else. So it just gives it a unique look, I think. That's still very awesome.
Very long, easy right.
But then the question, you get to points where, like, this core is going to get better and better, and especially playing with a gamepad that, you know, mimics the real one, how much is the original hardware worth having? I know some people have basically shed their entire collection after a MiSTer because the actual play, like, I'm going to sit down and play this game, is easier on the MiSTer all the time, and as accurate as real hardware in many cases. So how much do you keep the original hardware? I mean, I'm not going to sell my collection, but you can bet that when I just want to sit down and play something, I often go for the MiSTer because it's so much easier. You know, you have extra features too and all that stuff, so come on.
Hairpin right. Checkpoint.
checkpoint. Come on.
Stay left.
This music is so good.
Medium right.
But I mean, this is incredibly impressive already. Again, you can do this in emulation. I think the Medna Fen or whatever emulator. I don't think I'm gonna make it to this checkpoint. Nope. And this is how most of my races on the Sega Rally arcade machine ends up. So. Yes, I do have Clockwork. Let's see. You asked for 3 Dirty Dwarfs. Game over, yeah. I'm gonna have this as my notification on my phone. So. Yeah, you did ask for 3 Dirty Dwarfs, so let's do that one first, and then we'll go to Clockwork Knight as well. So here, yeah, I went ahead and acquired that one. And we'll just boot that up here now. Does everyone happy with this JVC scan filter? Should I switch it back to the PVM one? Or should I turn off the scan filter? What are people thinking? Or scan lines? Because the problem with that, it doesn't always... translate very well on a resized window. That's the problem with doing, if you watch it in full screen, sometimes that'll work really well. And sometimes when you watch it on a smaller screen, it doesn't work very well, but whatever. It's our stream, we'll do whatever the heck we want, right? Deal with it, yeah. FMV is the problem still with a lot of the games. I think this has gotten better now, but if I understand right, even a few versions back, a lot of the this is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, isn't it? A lot of the full motion videos don't work. It used to be that it just crashed the game a lot of the time, and you had to like spam to. It's so loud too. It actually loaded. Yeah, you see here, you have some weird stuff. Arcade would have had Intel. I mean, you mean like 480i or something? I would think that most arcade games from that time were still 240p, right? They just use really good arcade monitors. This is amazing, though. It's like, once this is all figured out, this is a great, like, side-scroll beat 'em up. So I have a gun, so can I use it? Oh, yeah. That's amazing, though. That's great. Even this. Does this support multiplayer, too? Or can you play multiple, or is it just... Whoa! Holy buckets! See what buttons I have. Okay, so that's a super. I was hoping I could switch character, but I don't think I can. I gotta say, so how do you get past this thing? Nope, you do not do that. Ow. I can knock some sense into him. Nice. So, how do I get past this thing? Oh, like that. Oh. Off. Nice, he's back. This is great. This is one of those, like, using the 2D strength. That's always, I think, is fun when they use the strength of the Saturn. Because it does is very capable, like, and I think that's how original was designed, right? It was meant to be a 2D powerhouse, but by then everyone wanted 3D, right? And we look back at it now and think like, oh, awesome, a great 2D powerhouse is amazing. Like, back then it was taboo almost, like you wanted 3D to sell and everyone had to have 3D. Ow. This is great, like, awesome, like, you know, nice character art. Super detailed. I feel like this is where the Saturn was really a great choice, but, I mean, it was just 2D wasn't as cool then, unfortunately, so... That's a good shotgun. We talked about how a good shotgun is important in games. That is a good shotgun. Yeah, that's right. And it's unfortunate. I mean, that's what it had to do, right? Because, I mean... I get it. I mean, but it also feel like it made the Saturn not the kind of... the best console you'd think that it would have been. I'm curious to see, because we've seen some 32X, like, homebrew development and stuff like that. But I don't think we're seeing really anything on Saturn yet, right? But that would be probably a difficult thing to pull off, too. Wait, this is like one hit. Oh. This is great. It's got a lot of character, you know. Oh, yeah, there's a dice there, huh? Dohicadedron. Whatever. Oh. It's a game I could see being like an Xbox Live Arcade title in the early days, too. Feels very much like, what's the Knights? I forget now. Whoa. Castle... I'm forgetting it. He plays 4, like, hand-drawn knights. Castle Crashers. Which, of course, Castle Crashers is kind of like a throwback to it, right? So... This is great, though. I could see having a great time with this game. It's a good suggestion. I'll be curious in watching this one for sure. Because the MiSTer supports as many controls as you want, it's going to be able to do multi-tap, or 4-player, or 3-player in this case, right away. And I'm curious to see if we'll get a snack adapter, too, for the Saturn. There is one for PlayStation that lets you plug in original hardware, or original accessories. I do have the 4-player multi-tap for the Saturn, actually, although no games that support it. The only games I have, I do have Nights into Dream as well, which we'll talk tonight, which is kind of a classic. But I like looking at these prices, because we bought then the Saturn for $40 at a game store years ago. And we just like, well, we're going to buy some games. We already spent, you know, $40 on a console. That's so much. So we picked up Daytona USA Championship Edition for 25 cents. 25 cents, a Saturn game. I know that's one of the cheaper ones. SimCity 2000 for $3. I'll go to the big camera so you can actually see them. So yeah, 25 cents, $3 for SimCity 2000, $2 for Soviet Strike, and $3 for F1 Challenge. And that's the games we picked up that were all like under $5. And you don't get Saturn games for that price anymore, and that's why we haven't really collected for it, because it is so ludicrously expensive. I think you have to be pretty lucky to find any decent deals on Saturn games anymore. They just fetch a premium. It's not great. We can try it tonight, too. So we won't play this game too long, because it clearly works. I mean, I'm not sure if you can complete the game this way, but besides some graphical artifacting, this plays great. Like, you get used to it. This alone is pretty impressive, so... Soviet Strike is cool, but it's just super sluggish. We can try that tonight as well. So, awesome game. Let's try Clockwork Knight here. I know we asked about that. There we go. Does anyone have any shmup or shooter recommendations? No, it is awful. It is objectively terrible, but it is a fun novelty. Does anyone have any recommendation for shmups? I do have Darius Gaiden, whatever how you pronounce it, on here as well. We can try that one. I know that one's a good one. Galactic Attack, okay. Because I am a fan of shmups in general, and I know that with the 2D hardware on here, it would be a good one. I know there's a great selection of shmups on, like, you know, on the PC Engine CD, for example, right? The PC Engine was a haven for shmups and stuff like that. But it's a genre I like a lot. But you play it like this now, and you almost forget that it's like a beta core and it's not guaranteed to work. Like, 'cause now I'm like, oh yeah, this might not work, but like it's been working so good so far. And most games are playable on some level. You might have audio glitches, video glitches. But I think FMVs even were a problem earlier here, a couple of beta versions ago. Well, that's creepy. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones too that aren't just bullet hell, but... Well, that's exceedingly creepy. We might cycle through games a little quicker here now. I'm not going to play as much on each one, just to... We have a lot of games we can test, and I'm mostly curious. I'm taking this as an opportunity to test the games. Not that I'm writing it down, which ones work or not, but I want to see if we can find... I think I know at least one that was just broken, like the graphics weren't rendering. Which, again, it's expected and fine. It's beta. Just a little creepy. Just, here comes the, copyright strike. It's a really neat era in gaming. And yes, probably high as a kite, too, when they made it. Okay. FMU works, that's alone is a pretty cool thing. What was the layer one? Okay. That's the thing. Okay, sorry. It's also a little loud there, but it seems to be working just fine. Betsy's room. Because we might be playing it and all of a sudden just run into a, it doesn't work anymore. Good evening, Sean. Welcome. Equal social skills there. The MiSTer core, the Saturn, as we can see here, is pretty freaking amazing. I mean, it works great. A lot of games have some problems with glitches, but the fact that we can play even this here is pretty insane and impressive in my book. Oh, he's on speed now. Woo! I've never played this game before. Yeah, and it's pretty easy too, because I mean, you just drag. I'm sure you're more than aware, but you just drag the beta core into the. I think even now, when you run the update all script, it even pulls the at least some version of the beta. But I downloaded the most recent one, the nightly build from. Whoa, there we go. Got some graphic glitches going on there. Back in the box. Yeah, they do have a certain look to them, especially if they try this like 2.5D and... Ouch, that really hurt. Ooh, beginning, nice. That's what we like, old school platformer. What other buttons do I have here? Nothing. I have attack and jump. It was just, everyone had to have 3D of some variety, and 2D games only was just not cool anymore. But it's got a nice theme here going with the wind-up toy knight here. It's on a rampage. Oh, I figured that was happening there. Splat. There were no survivors. It's got a neat perspective. I think this works to the benefit of the Saturn here. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I feel, again, I really wish they would have leaned into the 2D, but they just couldn't. They had to do 3D at this point, which is really a bummer. Because I think that having, you see the glimpses of that on some 2D games that run so well on you know, PlayStation 1 and Saturn and stuff. Well, he really jumps with gusto at full speed here. Made it. Here, at least, it works pretty well with the 2.5D. And it adds a bit of a layering to it, especially with the... This came out before Toy Story. It has a question. Yeah, I could see this being an enjoyable like platformer to sit down and just kind of blast through. Or dial up, like is the case for me. So I'm curious on that shmup here now. We talked, what was the Galactic Attack? That's right, so let's check out that one next, because I am curious on the shmup that is a guilty pleasure of mine. The shmups are fun to just kind of see how they play. I assume it uses... So he literally, like, winds them up until they pop. That's pretty morbid. Whoa. Yeah, I could see why this is one of the ones that I see mentioned quite a bit as being a good... Is this Saturn exclusive? So it's a, you know, a very nice platformer with a very specific theme. And this looks great on the CR2 too. And I think this is, when you get to this sort of thing, that's where the MiSTer is like pretty amazing, because I'm playing with a controller that looks like the Saturn one. You forget you're playing on the MiSTer. I'm fully jacked up now. I don't know, some knight came through and smashed them all. I think this suits the Saturn quite well. I mean, it's got a distinct style to it. It's unique. Neat graphics, yeah. Oops. I blocked myself in there. Ow. Alright. Yes, I do have the snacks. So I have the snack adapter. The only one I have so far is for NES. The snack adapter, for those not familiar with it, is basically a direct, like, and I'm probably misrepresenting it here, so feel free to pipe in. But it gives you a direct access to the hardware itself. So with the snack adapter, it basically gives you virtually zero latency, and you can use original hardware controllers. So in this case here, I have the NES one, so it lets me plug in a zapper, original NES gamepad, anything like that, and would work directly and natively. So it's a great option if you want to bridge that gap and not play with, you know, I could play NES with this, right? But it wouldn't be the same as playing with the real NES controller. So that's where the snack adapter is awesome. And once you have the actual adapter, then buying the extra cables are pretty small investment, so I'm going to get more of them. It's not the one that's compatible with the PlayStation. I bought the cheaper one because I wanted to try it out, so I haven't even gotten there yet. Let's check out that, what do we say? It was the, well, funny story, the beige box is hiding behind me. I figured someone would notice that. Back here, there, this is the Pentium 3700 streaming machine. It's currently being used for a specific project, so stay tuned on that one. Full story, like I was making a video, and Bruno and I have a thing where we're trying to get a video out a month. He got his out. I realized due to real life circumstances and stuff going on, I was not going to be able to do that. So I was working on the current video, which is involving that machine, and realizing I have so much video to do with that one, I dug that hole myself. I'm currently working on a smaller video that's much more off the cuff. That should be out Saturday morning, I think. That's what I'm hoping to. And then I can return to this machine, which is why the streaming P3700 is currently out of commission, because it is being used for projects. On my list is to fix up a universal AGP card that I have, or AGP motherboard. that I can then use for testing for that kind of stuff without having to pull out my machine. So, yeah. Do you want me to turn it off? I will happily turn it off. So we asked earlier, but some people wanted to keep it on. I am indifferent from my perspective. I will happily turn it off. So the Crusader port, I don't think this one works very well. It's missing music, and Crusader No Remorse without music is like, I bother, kind of. So it's a port I think is equivalent to the Super Nintendo, or the Super Nintendo, the PSX version. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't just, I was going to say, goodness. The PlayStation version is better because it works. I can't say exactly on Crusader directly on the other one. So I think Galactic Attack was the one we're talking about, right? Was it Galactic Attack or Galaxy Fight? Let's try Galactic Attack. And yeah, I might turn off the scan filter again here now so we can do a comparison. Whatever it catches up here. So I'm gonna be like that. I'm gonna be all sensitive about it now. But we'll change it back to standard interpolation only. There we go. There we go. All right, we'll turn off scanline for now, and then just run it for like this for a bit. And then there we go. Usually, that's why I usually don't do scan lines, because in the right circumstance, in streaming, capturing, all that stuff, they can look awesome. But it's hard to get that exact scenario where you have it. I think that 1440p or 4K gives you more space to properly do the scan lines. The way that MiSTer does scan lines is great. If you're playing on a screen, it can look awesome. And, oh my, it's one of these shooters, huh? Galactic Attack. This one looks to be running a 40i. It's flickering on my... Oh, yeah. Red power to pierce through. Turn up a little bit because it looks pretty quiet. This is the kind of shmup I do enjoy. Oh, it's one of those you have to lock on and shoot stuff. Okay. These kind of games can be very cathartic in the sense that you just kind of plow through stuff. Not bullet hell yet, at least. Usually they have great music, too. But this feels like it's a little bit rare to see, like, a flat 2D game like this, because it was like, you know, oh, we need to have... Gotta have our 3D, you know? This is my speed, though. This is good. Sir, the one ship has been wrecking our entire army. What should we do? Send more ships. But sir, send more ships. Sir, the single ship has been destroying so many... Doesn't matter. Send more ships. Whoops. They got me. Avenge me. 7 gold. Do I have any other buttons, or is it just these two? Laser. So the pace is a little bit slow for... Whoa, psychedelic. I'm all surprised how, like, yeah, that was me carelessly dying there. But how, I can't see where my ship is. I said just as I died. I'm pretty slow, whoops. I say that, but this is pretty tame as far as, like, shmups go. I do not like bullet hell shooters where you have to, like, dodge things. Of course, that didn't help. Nice. But this is a game you could definitely get further pretty easily with just a little bit of practice, I think. It didn't look too hard in the beginning here. I'm not sure if this is an arcade port or just a native game. The fact that it runs at this resolution too. Or maybe the game gets harder quicker, but I mean, I'm being very sloppy here because it's the first time playing it, but it doesn't feel too challenging. It would just play better, of course, but I don't know if there's a particular category for these, like, lock-on type of shmups where you lock on and shoot, like, a bigger laser like that. Because it feels like something that is pretty popular in a type of category of these shmups. There's a lot of bad shmups. There's a lot of really good ones. One of my favorite ones would be Axelay on the Super Nintendo. I just love the atmosphere of the gameplay. We played that one before. Take a left turn. It feels like an arcade port. Yeah, that's true. It's a little more strategic. You're going through slower and more methodical. This feels like it would play on a side-turned arcade monitor, right? The scan line should be like sideways. Yeah, I'll say it's getting a little feisty there now. All right, let me catch up on chat here now, but trying to catch up. Does anyone have any other specific recommendations or things that they want to try? We do have a lot of different games here, of course, too. I just picked up a lot, but let's check out one that I know for sure is pretty cool. Of course, now I'm forgetting the freaking name. PowerSlave, which is one of those games that is, I think, quite impressive on the Saturn. I know there was a PlayStation 1 version as well. There's a lot of different versions, like the PC version of PowerSlave is completely different. It's more like a linear shooter, but the Saturn version, I think, is more of Metroidvania a little bit. It has, like, you know, different branching pathways, I think, right? And the re-release or PowerSlave Exhumed that came out a while back takes all the best parts from each version and mushes them together, I think, to make it a really good package. I haven't tried that one myself, but
during the time of the pharaohs,
narration.
Karnak was a shining example of civilization that
there's quite a lot of narration in this one, so
hope to emulate. Today, Karnak
yeah,
lives on,
it's hard to describe in a CRT. It's like,
however,
I don't mind modern screen technology, and of course I have pretty crappy monitors, so I shouldn't even, like, you know, I don't even have an OLED or whatever. But when you look at how clear a CRT is, especially playing the games that were made for CRTs, that's where it comes into play. Like, right? I have a 32-inch JVC D series, and playing Super Nintendo, all your consoles like that, they just feel right, and they look really clean and nice on them. Yeah, there's a lot of story here. Got it. Yes, we do have Panzer Dragoon. I have not played it much. We will get to that as well. Sure. There we go. And I'd like to get OLED at some point too. It feels like the best one, but this is a first-person shooter. That is not bad on the Saturn. I think they built a custom engine for this. This is not... And then, yeah, we have some audio problems still, to be expected. I don't know if the game is this flat, or if... yeah, the audio is not having a good time. Not sure how long we can play it this way, but... Scorpion, take that. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it down. That audio is not good. Ooh. Animation's really nice and smooth there. Yeah, the audio's having a real bad time. That's the thing. I don't know. Is this what it looked like natively on the Saturn, or is it just that we don't have the lighting functionality yet? Yeah, I was say there has to be something wrong there, and that's to be expected. Again, we're in beta version. That will come in time, and I'm sure just that functions that does that has not been made yet, right? So, wish I could strafe here. Can I? No. Yeah, that's true. I piped it through my Atari for more genuine sound. But once this is completed or fully functioning, I'm sure it's a great way to experience the game. Oh, that's right. The ammo here is like a mana meter, isn't it? We're gonna talk to Ramses here soon, right? There he is. Ramses.
Welcome, mortal.
Welcome,
I
mortal.
am King Ramses. When my body was laid to rest here, my name was not forgotten.
And this is stuff like, you know, this I think is impressive for the Saturn. I shouldn't say impressive for the Saturn. It's something that would have been more than pleased to play. Not saying all the games on the Saturn are great, like many consoles, but there are some true unique experiences on here that are fun to play with. Which is what makes the core here so enticing. The fact that you can potentially get all these games working and just mess around with them and explore them. So. Well, that's true. That depends on the age and the generation, right? Because my kid is getting into that range here now too, and you know they're doing the same thing, but with like Roblox and Zelda or Breath of the Wild and that kind of stuff. So, but it does make me a little bit. What I'm trying to do now, and I have a real original Saturn now, but not many games, of course. I kind of want to. What I'm doing is cycling through all the consoles I do have hooked up. He's still talking, isn't he? Begin your search.
And cross the high bridge on the east side of the village.
I'm cycling through all my consoles that are currently hooked up to get like some sort of like solution that allows playing all games, be it a hard drive solution or a you know, playing burn discs or whatever. Usually upgrade a video cable if I can, like HD retrovision cables generally, and then potentially a wireless controller of some kind. I'm trying to go through each console, focus on it to the point where it's turnkey. Like the Xbox now is pretty much turnkey. The original one. I got a ton of games on there now, anything I would ever want to play. And now I can just turn it on in a moment's notice and play a game. I don't have to mess with it or do anything like that. And that's my goal because I have some consoles on there, like the Saturn now. I like 4 games. I never turn it on. So in the case that I don't have any original discs, really, Fenrir OD becomes appealing in that sense. You can also get a pseudo Saturn or a mod chip that lets you play burn games, of course. But I have so few original games that will I ever actually use it? I don't know. So things like that. I'm trying to decide which one to do because I like to preserve being able to play the original games if I can. But in the case that I have like on a Dreamcast, I have like 2 or 3 original games and that's it. But I have the entire console hooked up and ready to go. So an OD on there makes a lot of sense. I know that one can play almost anything. So yeah, that makes sense. The way I have it set up, I have 2 Kallax IKEA systems, which has like those 8 cubbies, right? The bottom 2 cubbies on each shelf have controller boxes, but the 6 on the right and 6 on the left all are piped to 2 component switchers that go into CRT TV. So they all are there, and they have spots for them, so I don't have to worry about that. Once it's all hooked up, it's good to go. But to push like, turn on CRT, turn on component switcher, turn on console, I'm playing. That's it. So, each one has a spot, but the ones that I'm wondering about, like I'm thinking about maybe taking the PlayStation 1 out and put the MiSTer there instead or something, because I have a PS2 hooked up, and to be fair, you can play a PS1 games on the PS2 just as easily, right? And it looks really good, the components and all that stuff, and maybe it's not as genuine, but it works. But an OD on the PS1 would be an option too, which is a little more expensive, but I don't know. There's a lot of options, and I think we are kind of spoiled for choice on the retro side anymore. That's why the MiSTer is so cool, because you can do all this stuff, and if you just want to play the games, the MiSTer is a great choice. The audio sounds better in this level. Why are so many animals attacking this guy here? It makes me feel like we should try and stream the exhumed version of this at some point on a CRT and 4x3. Ow. Ankle biters. So PowerSlave exhumed works, of course. We will try probably Panzer Dragoon next, because that is such an iconic game, I suppose. Blammo! Yeah, this is cool. I could have definitely seen myself playing this for real, so... It does look really good on PDF, but I have the luxury of using that, so... Oh, there's a... freaking bird hitting me. There it is. Oh, there goes the sound again. So yeah, there's some rough edges still have to be ironed out, so... Yeah, we're not gonna do that anymore, but, I've thought about getting a GPS control as well. Do you use, with the SNES and Genesis, do you use, HD Retrovision cables, or what do you use for, or SCART, or what do you use for that? And here's the thing. Here's the 2D image, right? It looks really good. Yes, the lighting is messed up on Quake, I can show you. Quake does not run good, and it's got the exact same problem. We do a Radiant Silvergun too, of course, a great shooter, but a bullet hell one. The lighting is messed up here as well, and it does not run great, so... But... SCART cables, okay. That's probably the easiest way. I have a mostly component setup, and I came into it without having a single SCART cable, so it makes it easy for me to just use the HD Retrovision where I can, since they have adapter cables for most of the consoles I have. We have a TG16, which is my wife's original one from when she was younger, and you can buy from, I think there's a booster thing or whatever you plug in that lets you use then eventually a HD Retrovision Genesis cable to get component out. Because the back of the TG16 and PC Engine, those pinouts back there are RGB out. But the native one, I think, only has RF out, right? It's a pretty weird choice from them. It's an odd console, the TG16. Sure, I'll create a save for Quake. Quake! It's Quake. Quake, anyone? There you go, Quake. That's it. After playing the port on the original Xbox, which is phenomenal. And here comes the Content ID match. Yeah. And then I'm excited for when we call the Saturn Core feature complete, because it's a great way to experience it. Because then, if you hook up then a MiSTer to a CRT TV and a flat panel, both, you know, and then you now have access to potentially play so many systems. It's insane the amount of consoles and computers that are on there, because they would then potentially cover, you know, all your mainline consoles, like, you know, the NES, the SNES, the Genesis, the Master System, the TurboGrafx-16/PC Engine, the Sega CD, the 32X, the PlayStation 1, potentially now the Saturn, the N64, all that on one little device, and it's tiny. So I think someone mentioned earlier, and there's an outhouse here. Okay, cool. There we go. I forgot my train of thought. Well, I'm glad so far the stream is holding up. Yeah, exactly. You get all that too. You can make a computer MiSTer setup if you want. I know people have been printing like wedge computers almost. Apologize. The allergies in full swing here right now in the Midwest, so I'm getting the feel of all the tree stuff coming down. So yeah, this does not play great. It's playable. I don't know that this will be a great way to experience Quake. Yep, there's a 486 core. It doesn't have an FPU, so that limits it. It cannot do Pentium, so it's more like a decently fast speed 486. This also has some audio issues here, so you'll hear like random crackling and... That is a very short jump. Can you run here? Let's look up. Cannot jump across this. I know run. I don't know what run is, but whatever. Interesting, you don't get nearly the same wobbly texture as the way that the PlayStation did stuff, right? But that's an interesting look to it, and it's, of course, much as we see here in the open area now, it's like slimmed down, and the old trick they do in some cases where they basically hide geometry to make it less bad, so... Turn down this a little bit so I don't have to listen to that crackling too much. I'm gonna die here. That's true. Anything that you could play this on a console for the time, you know, impressive or not, it is what it is. And it was if this is the way you experience Quake, then so be it. But yeah, it's not great. I haven't played the N64 one, but it intrigues me. I did not stand on the spot. Come on. Come back down. Oh, I fell down again. Oh, dang it. Damn, my quad damage. I don't know there's a way to strafe, and that's really throwing me off. You think that the shoulder buttons would be perfect for strafing, but they do not do anything. That might be my configuration. Like here, they block the pathway so you can't see it as easily. And that's the thing I know they did with some of the Wolfenstein port on the Switch, for example, in Doom Eternal and Doom and stuff. They changed the level geometry to be less open. Like here, there's a door here now, right? I'm not sure if that was there before. Maybe it was. So yeah, not a great one. So, eating Alex. Yeah, Zoe hasn't been down yet. She's kind of just hanging out in our bedroom, I think, now. She's an old lady now, so she doesn't come down as much. So, all right, Bruce Lucas, thanks for stopping by, and have a good one. All right, well, we'll have to try Panzer Dragoon. It is the kind of almost the calling card for the system. I do not know how well it plays or not, so we'll have to see. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what I did too. I played Quake 1 on my Pentium 100, and then I got a Voodoo 3D accelerator for that same computer, and was just like, oh my goodness, how that looks so much better. At the time, I thought the texture filtering and like the, you know, you can't even see the pixels level of stuff was just wizardry. So a lot of these games, I never tried it. I don't know which ones work, which ones do, so we'll just have to find out. Thousands of years have passed, and that's a downer. Cybergenetic warfare. But I think it's one of these, probably... might be one of these games that people test a lot, right? So it's one of those that the bugs are probably found first, because to me, the Panzer Dragoon Saga, or the two games at least here, are probably some of the defining games for the system, so they're popular ones to test to make sure they work. And here it's... See, the FMVs are playing great, although they're not touching the ground, but... Turn on just a smidge. Turn it up just a smidge there. Oh, okay. And that's the thing too. You know, there's a lot of games that aren't working at all yet, but eventually, this is 480i. It looks like, right? Kind of got flickering going on the CRT. They're still benchmarking for that same project? My goodness. Several weeks of benchmarking. Oh no, a flying weird thing. Alright, fine. Do I get to shoot things now? Loading times in general are true to form, I think. So, I believe we have some missing 3D stuff going on there. Like our Star Fox thing going on here. I have to be honest, I have never really played any of the Panzer Dragoon games, so maybe... this is true, it's just blindingly white. It's Snowstorm. Yeah. And that stuff we're going to be missing, right? Both like in how the VDPs are utilized and probably how they're called. And certain functions, I mean, they'll get there eventually, right? We can try Panzer Dragoon II. I can change the camera angle. That's a nice rail shooter. We can try Spy and see how that runs, because yeah, this does take away some from it. Take that, and that, and that. Can't see anything. Like, who came up with the idea of making a rail shooter on a dragon anyway? But, I mean, I suppose it works fine, but... Cool music, too. But, yeah. Let's try 2, because it is somewhat distracting to not be able to see anything. Nice. Sega. Oh, wrong system. We played almost exclusively US-based games here now too, so we can hop around because I downloaded just a ton of them. I know that this is Vi or 2 is probably considered. This is 480i. Very flickering, even on my PVM. Oh, millennia passed. Yeah, whatever. Get me on top of the dinosaur now. Need your clothes, your boots, and your dinosaur. Get the crackling audio again. There we go. Now we got some skybox going on here. A free roaming thing going on here. Whoa. Oh, okay, so this is different then. Whoa! Can I do anything to this huge boulder? Yeah, I can. It's got interesting art direction, this game. It's just very weird. Of course, what they went for. And very strong gun with what appears to be unlimited ammo. Can you wreck these things? Yes, you can. And this seems to be playing, I mean, fine considering. Oh, there we go. The first one had nothing about that, so that was cool. This one you actually do have to turn and shoot. So the first one had only one button, or at least controls with that, so. I'm not sure if L and R are not bound correctly or something, because I can't. Let's do this quick here. With sides of crackling here. Sorry about that. Right, left, down, up. A, B, C. Start. R. X, Y, Z, L. No. There we go. They weren't bound. That would explain why Quake wasn't strafing there. I could have sworn I fixed that, but oh well. Oh, hi. That's a little creepy. I don't think I'll be able to defeat that guy. Cool. That's fun. But, it seems to play fine, besides some crackling audio. I'm going to turn down just a little bit. Some crackling audio going on. I don't know how far you get into the game or whatever, but this thing, you could play like this for 2 hours and all of a sudden it just breaks. Just, whoa! Sorry about that. That's how my eardrums ruptured. I understand audio always comes last in these cores as they fix them, but it can make it pretty grating sometimes to play. Running on the ground. Shouldn't it be flying? Now this is pod racing. There's that button. Should have saved that. Forgot which one it was. It was that one. It's funny to see how they were like experimenting with my dude. It's hard to keep track of all the directions going on here. No, it is not my dude. But this one feels pretty close to, you know, being fully playable. I see, so you're going to use the radar there to show where they're coming in. Ow. And we tried some multi-platform games as well. We did try Quake, of course, but there's some other ones as well. And it's just, again, I feel like anything that uses the... the 2D capabilities of the system, I think, are... That was a nice feeling of flight there. Definitely crackling audio, but... So many things to keep track of here. Yeah, I mean, I see the appeal of this game, and I see why it's so well regarded. I mean, it's a very solid game from my little experience here now, of course, but once you get used to it. So wish I had more of that thing. Get more of that. Long lost version of Piled Wings here going on. No blips. Oh. Boy, I should just... This gun is really strong. And does a lot of damage. Yeah, okay, that's probably not Panzer Dragoon for now because it's all intense, but we'll check out Under Game 2 because we have the great crackling there. Let's look at Rayman, which I know is a 2D platformer, of course, but it was on, I mean, on the PlayStation as well, is where I recognize it above all. And there's some concessions they made on the Saturn, I think, for this one, so. And then we'll just cycle through and look through there. But that audio, unfortunately, is kind of like a deal breaker in some of these. And that will get better as the core progresses, obviously. There's more audio crackling. Radiant Silvergun is bullet hell shooter, isn't it? So I know that's also a very defining one for the system. The first outing of Rayman. Now replaced by the Raving Rabbids, obviously, for pretty much anything. Sure. I'll take the time to go through. That's the thing. We'll hop games a lot because I want to see which ones work or not.
You want to know what's going on? Let me tell you the story of Rayman.
Basically, yeah. And it was very, yeah, it looks like we definitely have some graphical artifacting going on here. Ooh, look at that. Oh, yeah. This might be one that we can't play very long because we have, yeah, extreme graphical, or sorry, audio crackling. This is on 32X too, wasn't it? I think so. I seem to recall John Linneman from... I just sound my... I send my glove out, but yeah. I don't think I can play this one very long because the crackling is just pretty bad, but that will get better, obviously, too. Yeah! 90s mascot. I think the last, like, Rayman game that I played was, there was one on PS3, which, 4-player, right? Rayman Legends or something? That was good. It feels like that was the last, like... I thought I could throw punches. Yeah, where's my punch button here? It looks really good on the CRT, no doubt. But I mean, this is just a port, right? It was on multiple systems. The PlayStation one might be the quintessential one. I feel like the ones that I... Trying all the buttons. He's not caring. Yeah, I tried every single button on here, so unless there's a feature that's not implemented yet or something. Now it plays just fine. No music, though. I could have sworn that there was a... What was it? There was one system that had Rayman ported to it that just looked just... pretty bad. Ooh, there we go. In your quest. Give me the powers. There we go. So I didn't have the punch yet. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. Say something was missing there horribly. Yeah. Okay, hopefully not that bad. Now we got past there. It plays really well. This is another... And not a platformer I would play super seriously, but one is always fun to revisit a little bit because it is just kind of a delightful cartoon style, you know. Ooh, we got the Golden Glove now. He's got the touch. Just delightful graphics and everything. It is just, yeah, I mean, we'll get more and more support of random features, right, that we want. CHD support is really nice, because that does help a lot on the PlayStation 1. Right now, I just have the bin and queue files, right, so... Oh, sorry. Yeah, this looks really smooth now and works great, but, I mean, this is a game that is awesome on the PlayStation. Not saying it's not good here, too, but it feels like you want the unique experiences. The multi-port games aren't always. There we go. Alright, we won't play Rayman too much longer, because it clearly is working just fine. Here, it was something... in the beginning there that had crackling audio and everything. But this plays fine. It's an Amiga Boing Ball, kind of. And then, yeah, you got some issues there. There's not, but I think that's something that... It feels like Jaguar is being developed. It's been tinkered for a long time. You have Jaguar. The other ones that I keep thinking are that we'll probably see eventually is like CDI and 3DO. Right, those are kind of like the last remaining big ones that haven't made it yet, and I think it's just inevitable, right? Anguish Lagoon. And this is the kind of thing that I wished was on more on the Saturn and PS1, because yes, it was a 3D thing at the time, right? But this gorgeous, like, 32-bit based, like, hand-animated stuff can look so good on these systems. And, you know, you play things like Mega Man 8 or Mega Man X4, 5, 6, or whatever, and that kind of stuff, and it looks so good. Nice 2D, with a lot of extra effects and stuff. And, you know, it was just not in to do that at the time, which is a bummer. So, that, of course, works just fine. Ooh, there we go. I gotta do some road and track because I do or crackling audio. I think that might just be something that's pervasive through the core and not just individual games that are causing it. It's just whatever effect is triggering. I may just have to reboot the core, honestly. We'll do a cold reboot and see to make sure that nothing is going on. There we go. We'll do a cold full reboot of the entire MiSTer. Just to clear out anything in memory going on. I'm not sure that will help or not, but I also want to not necessarily assume. There we go. We got to wait for the network connection to pop up here. You see the top there. Should get a network connection because I do have all the ISOs for this or the Q and bin files on a network share. So, yeah, it just... That's the thing that are sought after. I feel the same way, but it just, you know, it was everyone wanted 3D at the time. I'm also going to double check that the SIF is mounted. I think it is, yeah. There we go. We'll go into the beta core here. We're using the single SDRAM model, and you do have to have the full 128 meg module for the Saturn core to work. There's better compatibility, I believe, with using the, let's say, 2 memory modules, but then I can't use the analog outboard. So, which one did I just pick? Already forgot. We have a lot of other ones too. Loaded as well. There's layer section 2 then, so that's the follow-up to that one. I'll have to check that out then. I didn't realize that was the case. That's right, Need for Speed. Because I am a fan of this game. But yeah, FM Towns will be awesome too. Eating Foil Fresh, welcome. And I think it's just a matter of time before we see those, I think, because not only do you have a large collection of people that are developing for it, that just like it, the challenge, you also have a lot of people that are, you know, Patreon funded, and they just look for the next thing to tinker with and support themselves doing that. So I think that we will, especially if we're seeing N64 now. I mean, between Saturn, PlayStation, and N64, it'd be shocking then if we don't start seeing some of the other ones that are probably complicated, but will take time. Because I can imagine we'll get Jaguar CD, you know, we'll get FM Town, then we'll get 3DO, CDI, and all those ones. Because there aren't a ton of, like, play games on those systems. But at the same time, for the sake of completeness, and I think that just people like the challenge, right? I have the big box for this for PC. It is one of my favorite early DOS titles that I played a lot. So I can't say that this port is great, but at the same time, it would be a fantastic way to experience the game. Or a good enough way to experience the game. I think the first Need for Speed on console was on 3DO, right? Get our air guitars ready. This is a unique screen here too. It's not the same on the DOS one. I mean, I love there wasn't much. This is like a love letter to car culture almost, and that's how it started with this one. So, whack smack boom bam. A Pioneer Productions. The settings here are a little more simple, so. I mean, the PC one is probably the definitive one, I imagine, the SC version. And this is unique, too, because I don't think it has the showcase. There's no showcase of the cars here. I think. This goes right into the game. Where's my Rusty Springs? There's Autumn Valley, okay. We got the Supra, the NSX. It's a little hard to read there when it's this, you know. There's the car showcase. We're just hidden under here. Oh, this is unique music, too.
From its enormous front air intakes to the clusters of tiny taillights under a towering F-40 style wing, Toyota Supra is a powerful styling statement. It also has muscle beneath its hood to match those looks. A 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6 engine makes 320 horsepower.
Yeah, about that. That was kind of a gentleman's agreement, wasn't it? Those late, or mid to late 90s Japanese muscle cars. Muscle cars.
The Supra's chassis
They produce a lot more power than they said they did, and also this one I know is so tunable. Next slide. Performance.
Defeat the standard traction
it's still a
control,
bummer because
and
the
Supra will take you to 60 miles per hour in a torrid 5 seconds flat, helped by a slick shifting 6
really nice like demo stuff
Formula
that they have on the
Fords.
PC version I think are
Tremendous
awesome. I'm not
grip
sure
and
which other
extremely
versions have it.
predictable
So
handling manners make it easy to extract the most from this chassis, putting it near the top of the group for overall handling and control. But be careful when exiting tight corners.
5 seconds,
The
pretty
tail
fast
can
back in the day. I mean, we're talking like a little video. Yeah, but this is like, you know, this car was designed, you know, early 90s, right? And it's just funny, too, because, yeah, we're kind of spoiled for performance now. You go buy, like, a V6 Camry, and it's, like, properly fast. People expect, like, you know, 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds in a family sedan. Even the 4-cylinder. No, that the cars have gotten heavier, but... That might be gearing, too, but a lot of those... big honking V6s we get in today's cars are surprisingly powerful. I got a V6 in our van, right? And that thing will accelerate faster than you think, considering the size. But just those strong V6s. Cool. For safe merging, right? We'll do the Supra. Yes, there was a lot of menuing to get to the race here now. Loading. Oh, we got the menu music. Gotta put it in gear. Meow, meow, meow. Plays fine. Whoa, that camera angle does not. It's like I got some. I got a Toyota Minivan. See, the real thug life. No, I think they call it the Swagger Wagon. We even got them up with the sports pack. Oh, that's the handbrake. Found the handbrake. Don't worry, everyone. I found the handbrake. But yeah, this is fine. It's just a little difficult to play with an analog control when you're doing a racing game like this. It's, you know, yes, arcadey, but it tries to mimic the real physics of the car a little bit. Then again, I was used to playing it on keyboard, right? And then you have extreme digital input, but... Ah, yes, the car models. Part of me regrets selling the Mazda Speed, but we did. Oops, I did it on purpose. I think it is a little clippy. I don't necessarily think it's a capture. I think it's just we still probably have some audio stuff that's just not as good as you would want it yet. I would think so. Like, it's almost like with certain sound effects happening, it just kind of goes pop. And I think that's probably a side effect of the core more than the capture or the system itself. Well, there's a lot of racing games on this system, aren't there? I like the tire marks. I like hovering above the track to make it look like they're, you know, on the track. Getting there slowly. Yeah, this played pretty... I had to set my 4633SX down pretty far with the low mode and everything to play this game back then when I got it. And then when I got my Pentium 100, I was able to set everything to max and run with the high resolution. It was just like, oh my goodness, it looks so good. And I remember my brother having mostly played racing games like this on like a C128 before that. It's like, oh, look at the, you know, the speedometer needle has like multiple pixel width. It's just not a single line. It looks so good and realistic. Estelle is a good one, yeah. Yeah, there's some texture problems there still, but yeah. That's right, I do have Cyber Speedway on there too. I did see that. It looks very Wipeout-like, so. Yeah, that's the thing too. We played a couple of 2D, and then that's what I really do like a lot on this system. So if you have other 2D things that you recommend, I would happily play them. That's the thing I seek out. I find myself too, even on PS1 when I'm doing it on the MiSTer, seeking out the 2D games because it's just the 32-bit consoles doing 2D is just like fantastic, but there's a few of those games it feels like because like, oh yeah, we need 3D now and everything's 3D. But there are some really, really good 2D experiences you can have on a lot of these. I know we have Guardian Heroes too, of course. That's another good one, which is like a 2.5D. Play that one as well. I don't hopping games a lot, but I'm just testing things, so there's some unique experiences on the Saturn. I feel like I missed out by not having them.
Somewhere in the universe.
Sure. Story. It's one of those that's like just hand-drawn, gorgeous art. Which almost the sprites are so huge, it's almost a little hard to play. And I will say too, having a CRT option, I'm outputting component to my PVM, and it works great. So can someone fill me in a little bit on this game? Because I've tried it a couple times, and you need to grab the bad guys like that and throw them. Is that the purpose here? I couldn't quite figure it out, and I was dying a lot. chuck them around. Woo. Yeah, gorgeous art. Little crackling going on, I think.
Get out of the way.
If you're here to steal the bird, you have
Feel
to
the
get
burn.
by me
Okay. You have to get through me
Get away
first.
from me, you stupid bird. Quit following me.
And I'm just generally just nice. Oh my. Yeah, some things are still not quite there, right? But it will get there, and I think it's going to be awesome when it does. This was on PlayStation as well, right? But I know some of these port games, oh my, are, you know, better on one particular platform than the other, right? Some might be more... You see the gorgeous hand-drawn background there? Only. Oh. That's fine. I'll take this, whatever this is. Woo! Off that stuff makes you feel alive there. And into the darkness. It's fun exploring the not only the console exclusives, but then also the multi-platform ones to see how they play. You look tough. Yeah, I was gonna chuck you. So I guess the thing with this guy, he just picks up everyone and chucks them. Enough with the chucking, dude. Because again, I love the 2D stuff, and it's a really shame it was kind of like taboo for a while there. But once this is feature complete, between the... Whoops. Between the Saturn, PlayStation 1, and also then eventually N64, I mean, it's a heck of a system. Not to mention just like if you're just interested in the 16-bit stuff, for example, which I think a lot of people are, having all the other stuff is like a bonus. It just, they keep adding stuff to it. And I think that we're going to keep seeing cores as long as there are systems. I mean, I think eventually we'll probably have everything that can possibly fit on there. But also the nice part is that if it's written in HDL, I think it can be ported pretty easily to other FPGA platforms. We're not locked to the D10 Nano. Almost feels like the sprites are a little too big. It's like they're gorgeous, but knock him down, Birdo. Sure. Yeah, that's still happening there too. So yeah, this, certainly with the current version of the core, this has a little ways to go before I would consider it like, you know, perfect. Which, it seems like a lot of them have audio problems, and that's to be expected. Audio will always come last, basically, in the feature list, so... I mean, that would be awesome, but I don't know. The cost efficiency of that will be hard to accommodate, right? Because yes, it would be awesome to have a card like that can do all those, but not only would you have to duplicate it, I'm not sure how powerful of an FPGA chip you would need to do that. I assume once you start getting into GPU territory, you're dealing with a lot of pretty rough stuff, right? So, this is also, to me, from what I understand, a pretty defining game for the system, or at least a very popular one. So, one that I see mentioned all the time on, like, top 10 lists. Which is Guardian Heroes. That is correct. We'll try it out next as well. I was surprised how good that port is. You'll find out, but it's actually pretty cool. But in this case here, Guardian Heroes then is a 2.5D kind of thing going on. I think sometimes the loading screens are really long. And I know VG Esoterica said it as well, like just give it time. Because sometimes you might think that it's crashed or broken, but the loading is just not fast on a lot of these games. And that, it might just be the way the core is so far. Just give it time and it might load. So like you always need to be patient. Well, knock on wood, the stream has held up pretty much the entire time now. So again, I streamed at a much lower bitrate than I normally do. And I'm doing 1080p. Normally I stream at 1440p. So I haven't seen a single drop, which is good, I guess. So I'll give it a few more seconds to see. This is the best game ever. It's awesome. I think in some cases, if there's an FMV too, it may not load. Oh, nice. I think a Guardian Hero is one of those that probably fetches a bit of a premium like all the Saturn games do. I mean, I don't know what a cheap Saturn game would be. Maybe the Daytona that I have here for 25 cents. Probably not worth too much anymore because they made so many copies of Daytona. But Daytona. We had given this quite a while, and maybe a lost cause. I could have sworn I tried this one. Yes, I have. Unfortunately, I think my children and the rest of the family would be somewhat complaining if our internet would be just completely unavailable altogether. That would be a problem. We'll do a reset on that and see. We'll try again. Sometimes when you load these, I think it could be like, it can load like one time and not the next time. And sometimes you have to mash through FMVs and stuff like that in the beginning to get past it. So we'll try here again. Nothing's guaranteed. It's beta. There we go. And there we go. The FMV loaded first try there now. So we just have to do a reset. Maybe something in the memory. It might be worth doing a reset between game loads, honestly. I'm so used to being able to just kind of flip games. But it might be that in this case it's better to do a reset. We should probably start doing that out of habit. To make sure we clear out the memory and everything. Otherwise you're basically just popping open and plopping a new one in. I know these CD-based systems like having a reset, probably. Time for some 90s cheesiness. FMV 90s goodness. And that's true, until they couldn't watch their shows and everything. Ah, yes, we now return to the, did we just get like a saxophone there kind of thing? This is a synthesizer. Yeah. Oh my, that body type is odd. Oh, there you go. There's the wailing 90s guitar too. Boy, there is just a cavalcade here of stereotypical anime characters. Yeah, well, there's guns all of a sudden. That feels unfair. Got a little Popful Mail on the Sega CD, which I think is a really fun game too. Got the same kind of animation going for it almost. But the FMV is playing just fine. No real problems. Ah! a story in there somewhere. Cool. Listen to that music. I don't know if this game loads. We never get past it, but at least we got the intro, and that's as we expected. Again, beta core, still stuff being developed for it. But, you know, every time there's a new release, some fix is implemented to make one game more playable or get past a certain thing. And that has like kind of like a snowball effect of more things being fixed too. I saw that on the PS1 core. When one particular game was fixed, that also fixed, you know, multiple other things, so... It's crazy. So you have a Sega Saturn exclusive game being sold on a console by a manufacturer that had never even... that didn't exist when this game was made. There's a lot of cool ports to the 360, right? Well, it never got past there. We're trying out a reset and then see if we can get past the FMV. I'll skip it and then see if we get past it. But I had to watch that glorious goodness of 90s nostalgia going on there. Not nostalgia, but just such a fantastic period piece. Yeah, Sega's licensing, I guess, has been all over the place. Skip that and got right into here, but we'll give it just a minute here, but I'm not sure if we'll get past this loading screen here or whatever. So this is what you got going here, and I think I saw this game being played. So I'm not sure it's one of those you gotta skip the FMV quicker or what, and it might be like 1 out of 10 times it boots, I'm not sure. And I'll get fixed eventually, of course, but it's a little hit or miss right now, obviously. See, now my internet's been holding up the entire night, and it's weird how it was just crazy flaky just before stream. But again, I'm streaming much lower bitrate than I planned. But I guess that's better than no stream at all, right? Well, so check out Command & Conquer next. Does anyone have any other requests for specific ones? I know you mentioned Cyber Speedway up there. We do have Wipeout itself proper, but I do have a lot of games on here. I dropped a whole bunch because I want to have them ready to explore. And like I said, I might get an ODE for the actual Saturn and have that hooked up so I can actually play that on the real one. I mean, the MiSTer is super convenient, but sometimes there's something fun about having the real one turned on, the CRT, and, you know. Alright, well, good showing of that game. And loop the music. I talked about doing a reset, but I guess it did do a reset here now by itself, so. So it's just one of those, like, it feels so close, yet so far away in the sense that there's so many things that work just fine here. But we still have, of course, a long way to go before we have feature completeness and things working. And this... I'm a little surprised how cool this works on here. I was thinking that this would, like, you know, Command & Conquer and RTS on a console, you know, that's always extremely hit or miss. Turn down a little bit on my side. It's extremely hit or miss, right? But this is quite impressive. I mean, it's got the FMVs, it has... to me, quite sharp video output, and is fully playable with the limitations of a controller still. I mean,
at least your mother tipped well.
I thought these things were so cool on playing this originally, so. But the game, the port of this, I'm a little shocked how quote-unquote feature complete it is. And it's a little weird because some of these ports of different games, like on Red Alert on the N64 and stuff and PlayStation, they all are like unique engines. Alright, we'll see this intro many times. So this is like a direct port of like... Again, still some crispy audio, not crispy audio, but... new game.
Are you picking this up? Good.
Good.
I know you need more deep background, but we're
up against it.
Nod for
I may have seen that a few times, yeah. It plays like the PC version with a controller, and it's weird to see. Like, it's weird because the audio is a little hit or miss because it was not as crackling when I tried it. I think, let's see. There we go. Certain things initialize. And then there's no, like, sound effects yet, I think. But here we're playing Command & Conquer on the Saturn, and it, by golly, this seems pretty faithful port. Like, it feels like they ran a native code or something on here. And it works. It would be fiddly to play this the entire time, but as far as console ports go, this is more than passable. I mean, it's surprisingly good here. But you get the limitation. I mean, a game like this was made for mouse, and it's sluggish to do on a controller. There's no denying that. But it plays fast. I mean, it feels like a... It looks sharp, too. I mean, even on CRT. I don't think this is 480i, but I can't quite tell. Oh, man. You know, I'm not sure. Someone else might know, but that would make that, of course, a much better experience. Like, I know that the PS1 mouse works for things like Quake. Quake 2 on the PS1, and that makes a big difference in playing that. Oh, come on. Pathfinding in this game is... I mean, this is early RTS. The AI is not... Oh, hi. But it almost, like, it runs really quick. It feels really good. Yep, I have that here, too. I haven't tried it yet, so... I'm more curious on that version, too. Oh, don't brought my Humvee. I blow my Humvee up. I'm a mechanical man. I may have... I sent this off. I found an ad, and I went to a local printer and printed this. And I have this on my wall normally. It's down right now, but it's one of those like magazine ads. I just blew it up a lot, and then just sent it to a local printer and had them print it. And yeah, it's like glossy and stuff, but it's fun. It's the full print ad from like a PC gamer from back in the era. That's an option to get these custom kind of posters, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of surprising ports to the Saturn. And that's, like, the MiSTer lets you do all these things and explore these things without spending an insane amount of money on something like that might not be that great. This is surprisingly faithful. But I'm not sure how well Theme Park plays and runs. Some of those games, like, you know, they really need the mouse. Yep, I got a mech warrior 2 on here as well. Try to base immediately. Yeah, no, you know. Gotta do the great shot. Base immediately. There we go. Was there a syndicate on here? I'm not sure if there was. Maybe there was. Don't see a syndicate version now. Yeah, the crackling audio is the thing that, I mean, again, that will be probably one of the last things to fix as far as, like, basic feature completedness, but, yeah, we've seen Command & Conquer a lot, so, great shot. Let's see, we have a lot of... I never tried the Contra one. I'm not sure what the Contra is on this system. I would assume it's a run and gun of some variety, so let's check that out. Or if it's like one of those behind the character. I know there was a couple of Contras that were kind of controversial. Controversial. Because they are from behind the character instead of like a side-scrolling. I'm not sure which one this is, or if it even works. Who knows? The boots? The Konami stuff going on here? That's a lot of explosion. Got the classic Konami font there. So yeah, this looks like a port. Or just someone else making a Konami game. Or a Contra game. So you never know if the game's going to boot or run or anything, so... Wow, hand-drawn stuff. Is that an android? Alright, we're playing as the Ed 209 with legs here. That is a lot of benchmarking. Yeah, this is the one that's like... At least like a top-down Amiga game. I remember hearing... Oops, that is very loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I remember hearing like it's one of the worst like Contras ever made. Why would you do this with Contra? Look, it's 3D. It's clearly just 2D sprites that they... Oh my god. Look how they massacred my boy. Oh, I can crouch too. This is unfortunate. A little seizure, but that runs very well though. Okay, where do I shoot now? Yeah, exactly. Got the... It's hard to hear because I don't want to turn it up anymore. Because it's got the music from Contra 3. Or Super Probotector, as we call it, in the right place of the world. What does that robot have for a face? I'm just asking for that picture there. Ooh. Oh yeah, flamethrower. There we go. It plays so chonky and weird here. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good at all. That thing just gotta... I must go now, my people need me. Kinda, I mean, it's not tank control, so it does move the direction you want. It's just very awkward with 8 directions going on here on this, like, digital control pad. Awkward. It's probably the best way to describe it. Do I have any bombs? No. He just ran me over. What a jerk. Oh, the way they fly up when they... Yeah, this was, yeah. That was not a good one to check out. Alright. Let's see what else we got. We have a few, ones that are, it's Hexen, too. I'm curious on Hexen. I haven't tried Hexen on this one. I'm not sure if they use a unique 3D engine as well, but... Now we're looking at ports, of course, which I know is not the strong suit. That's the correct... I went to Die Hard Trilogy. I know the Die Hard games. There is... Yeah, the Trilogy is a good one, right? I think it actually froze. It might be waiting for the CD thing to spin up, actually. Yeah, I think actually the core froze. The entire MiSTer froze. It was the hard freeze. First hard freeze of the night. I figured that was inevitable. I'm surprised it took that long. I'm messing with the beta core now, so who knows? I mean, it's... I don't know if it's my setup or if it's the beta core there, but odds are that just something got twisted and it wouldn't boot. So, yeah, we can do that. We'll do Die Hard Trilogy instead, because I know that's kind of like a known game. Waiting for the network to initialize there. We're looking for the icon at the top that shows the network is connected. There we go. Now I'm going to give it a second for the SIFS mount to go into effect. There's the Saturn single SD-RAM. And I think compatibility is supposed to be better than with 2 memory modules, so you can certainly do that. Die Hard Trilogy then. There we go. Oh, wow, that's probably the worst case scenario to do it. I mean, just brute force it in software. That is not the right platform for that. That's the thing, too. It feels like almost a PS3 in the sense that if they knew how to develop for it well, it could run very well. But if you just brute force into Smackdown or like the opposing systems, then you're going to have a bad time. The same way, like, you know, some of the ports were worse on PS3 versus 360 because it just was not a good utilization of the PS3 strengths, right? And I feel it's the same thing with the Saturn. It's capable of a lot, but it has to be given the right care. So, of course, going to play Die Hard, the first one. Ho, ho, ho. I guess this is another option for a Christmas stream. Is this in arcades? Oh, there's a Die Hard arcade too, right? Loading. Cool loading screen. Look at the 3D we can do now. And there's something utterly charming with this early 3D graphics. With the, you know, extreme polygonal stuff here. And loading. It is still CD-based, and in general, it's going to emulate the loading times a lot of times, I think. But yeah, they're faster, so you can read, but in some cases, you can't read too fast, because it might break the game and all that stuff. There's a lot to be considered, and also trying to make it...
NYPD! Hey, this isn't even my turn. Get him! Happy trails. Ow! That hurt.
That sounds like Bruce Willis, or someone who's a very good sound-alike. We have a punch. Have a roll. Oh, just unlimited ammo, okay. Boy, he's got a lot of bullets.
Give up, you're surrounded. Get the hell out of here.
That's a big box. Oh my goodness. Does run a little sluggish here. Just taking bullets to the face, and he's like, ah, it hurts. That's alright. Remember when McClane gunned down like 50 terrorists?
Ah, that's better.
Good lord, he's Rambo now. And no shoes. Nice touch.
Help me!
I'm trying. The game controls really wonky. It's funny too in early 3D graphics how this was just accepted as far as like things popping in and out. I mean, it could be the core too, but
Get the hell out of here!
you know, I'm not sure how the arcade game is, if it's like gun-based or not. That's something I like to get into too. I know Apology on Discord there, she was using that's right, I can jump, I can sing. PS2 Gun Con, and it's a cool way to. The draw distance is quite something.
Give up, you're surrounded! Don't let him get away!
This is more than playable. The draw distance is just hilarious. I can't tell if McLean. Are we the baddies? It feels like it. I'm just mowing down everyone. Due process? Nah. I do love the chonkiness of the graphics. This feels like you know, you'd see a game like this being remade, or like a type of like
Give up, you're surrounded!
throwback, you know. Oh, they have hostages in there. This is not gonna end well.
Get the hell out of here! Want to stay alive? Stay with me.
Oh,
Yippee-ki-yay!
he didn't say the line. That plays well enough. I see why this is a popular choice. Fun little arcade thing, but not quite true to the movie, I suppose. Like, oh, the book was better. Oh, okay. So it's not very good in general then. But it's I don't know. You could see someone make this game purposely as like a demake almost now. Started me. Oh my goodness, yeah, the frame rate is.
Don't let him get away. Happy trails.
It does. I mean, someone who's very good sound alike there. It sounds like Bruce Willis to me, but I can't imagine he would have lent his voice to this one. Oh, look at that PVM there.
I ever got.
Interesting. It's got to be a happy medium, right?
Take this, Yankee. 9. Happy trails. Take this, Yankee.
Trying not to shoot a hostage, but it's kind of hard when they're right in the middle.
Take this, Yankee. Don't let him get away. 9.
Oh, I'm gonna die. That's fine.
Don't let him get away. Happy trails. Hey, cop. Hey, cop.
Oh, they just gibbed. I mean, it's fine, but it's just like... Boy, this is running sub 10 FPS, isn't it? Oh, what was that? Something flew into the sky there for me. I do love the setting, it's pretty cool, but it feels like they overstretched the system a little bit here. Good thing the frame rate is so low.
Don't let him get away.
I don't know how to get the machine gun.
Ah, that's better.
Yep. Well, still, I could see trying to get further on this game each time you play. You can pick up the gun there. Like actual environments. Look at this. Windows. Transparency. Can you fall out? No. That's more than I expected, though. I figured that would, Ah. They're actually moving around, too. Let's see, this is a pretty neat dynamic thing, but yeah, it is just, like, brutally slow. There's just nothing there to pick up, I think. Plus, I don't know how to change.
Don't let him get away.
They just kind of walk out there from the elevator. Hmm.
Don't let him get away.
Alright. Have a good one. See you next time. Pending internet problems or not. Yeah, this is what I could see spending some time with back in the day on the Saturn easily. Because, I mean, yeah, it's sluggish as hell, but at the same time, it's kind of what you're used to, too. I think all the hostages are kind of dying now. John McClane is too busy playing a Rambo.
Make it? Yippee-ki-yay!
Yippee-ki-yay! Whee! Evening Solar, welcome. It's been alright. We've had some audio crackling, and this game here now, we're playing Die Hard Trilogy, and so far it's playing just fine. I think most games have played fine with some audio issues. There's been some that just have not worked in general, so considering that as a beta core and where we're at now, I would say we had a pretty good success rate, honestly, in quite a few of these games, so... But then if anyone has suggestions for the next game we should try, I'll also pick one from the list here. Maybe we should try Radiant Silvergun, because that is such an iconic game. We can switch to the Japanese version of this, and then play some of the... Nice, got like multi-layered here now too. Oh, this runs like hilariously slow. Oh, smoke too. That's gonna be even slower. Oh my! See like a gibbing there as they explode. Oh, that's nice. No, Knight has not been tested. You're right. We should probably do that one. That's probably the most iconic one, isn't there? Oh, that looks like a good ending there. That was fine. Everyone survived. They went out for cake. We're trying to test some of the 2D games, but of course Nights into Dreams is thanks for the suggestion. Is of course an iconic game on the platform. One that I do actually own in the smaller CD format. Sonic Team. You can't have a proper regular Sonic game on this one though. We do have Sonic R and Sonic Jam and those ones too. It's like there's more games on here than we can conceivably play through in a single night, but a lot of these games do run quite well, and is already a compelling option as a way to play them. We have the sequel on Wii too, and that one isn't super interesting. Excuse me. Nights into Dreams. Sure. Creepy game. Yeah, that's... I'm not sure it's something to do with my setup or just the core the state is in. I do get a lot of crunchy audio a lot of time, and that's probably to be expected. Ow. Line time. I never played this when it came out, and always a little confounding to me how... But I know it's a defining game for the system, a nearly mascot level for... the fact you can kind of freely fly around, right? Weird. Oh, take that. Sorry about that, Bull. That's alright. No one expecting any specific level of activity. I mean, I clearly am pretty slow myself on a lot of these things, so it's supposed to be a hobby after all, right? Just fun stuff. Whee! I don't know what's going on, but I'm flying around and doing things. I think that's what this game's about. Whee! Whoa! They ever explain the upside down world things going on here? It's like this is a good use of, like, you know, 2.5D thing going on. We'll take those. Aha! I'm in the gumball machine. Hey, Chris. I know. You'll just have to watch the replay, I guess, so... We did play, Panzer Dragoon II, and that did work just fine. The first one had some graphical problems, but the second one did work just dandy. At least from what I could tell. We still have some audio clipping and glitching going on, so... yeah, which I do have. I assume that we'll get that with the snack adapter eventually. I do have the analog controller here, courtesy of Chris, I believe. Thank you, Chris. But I'm playing, of course, with the 8-bit Saturn look-alike one, which is more easy to use on the MiSTer. I'm just getting dizzy playing this here right now. Mostly because I don't know how to play this game besides flying around aimlessly doing things. This is on the MiSTer FPGA, so it is not real hardware. So this is all hardware emulated in that sense, and load times as far as like that goes is about comparable to real. I don't know that you get a huge speed boost by having the because it's trying to emulate the whole CD load system. So I'm not sure exactly how that plays out, if you get a huge boost or not. But things are fine to load. I would say load times are shorter, but... Ooh, far out, man. I'm wigging out. I don't know what that was about. See, I always thought this game was so confusing. I don't really know where to go. Take that. That seems like it. Like, did they have any specific idea when they made this game besides just fly around weirdly? I feel like watch a speedrun of this game. Sure. Nice one. Nice. I don't know. Whoa! Oh man, that's brutal. Like, ah! Ran out of star power and just fell to her untimely demise. That was like full 3D going on here. I assume the arrow is going to point me to where I can get more. I have no idea what's going on here now. Whoa. Oh. There were no survivors. So yeah, it's a game that in general seems to work just fine on the MiSTer. Ooh, that looks good. Let's jump in the purple. Aw. Got some Mega Man Legends / Tron Bond thing going on here, it feels like. Some stars there. Whoa! I just want to fly again. I need to fly. Nice. Yeah, I believe I imagine analog is going to be... Oh, sure. Did something. Oh, it just was the game over. Okay, now, yeah, we do have the Christmas edition here as well available, but Sega. Clearly that game works just fine. No problem there, really, considering. See, that is just the thing of playing some of the 2D games, and that's kind of the thing that this was just so good at 2D stuff. Is that Space Jam? Burning Rangers 2, or sorry, Burning Rangers is, I'm not sure if that one works or not. I've heard conflicting results. We can try it. I know Burning Rangers is a very popular one, and I think it's one of those that doesn't necessarily work. I do have some that are translated, but I was curious, is this literally the movie tie-in? It probably is. By claim. For good time now. We're not going to linger on this very long. I was just curious. I mean, I didn't run. Yeah, it's a tie-in. This is the game you really wanted to own, Chris. I know. No, for fact. And the unskippable cutscene. The joke's gonna be on me. It's gonna be like a good game, but no more curiosity than anything. But I can't. There we go. Press start, but it may not even work. There we go. I don't think so. I got the multi-tap, and then I think a couple of controllers and stuff.
Help.
Sure. There's no ball there. Quite excited about the N64. It's one of those things like you didn't think that anyone would ever try it, but if anyone could pull it off, it's going to be Robert. I mean, the PlayStation Core is amazing, so still holding my breath a little bit on the possibility of actually bringing it to the MiSTer. I know he's working on an emulation right now. Oh. Okay, so I'm getting eaten by a dog. Greatest tying game ever. Getting sneakers, and I have no idea what's going on here. What is going on? Okay.
Mother.
What? Oh my goodness. They're cube bin files, yep. So we can try Burning Rangers, but I don't think it does work. I seem to remember someone saying specifically that this one is not functioning yet, so yeah, it's just cube bin. Yeah, that's all there is to it right now. CHD would be very nice, like the Saturn or the PlayStation 1. I have all the current CHD, and it does save quite a bit of space. So we'll see here. I seem to remember Burning Rangers was a non-functional one. Ugh. Oh, sorry. Where's the volume? Yeah. That's not good. That sound was not good. Yeah, that's gonna be a no dog for me there. I'm sure this game is... I can't play that audio there because we can mute it. You can hear the theme. It's just the audio is completely busted. That's the thing with this core is that they're still developing it. Oh, this is 480i. The screen is flickering like crazy. They're still developing it, so there's a lot of features that are missing, including audio, so... Kinda can hear it. But yeah, the audio is not good. Burning Rangers, go. I'm not sure. Some of them do. It's just hard. Oh my good lord. Yeah, I might have to skip out on that one because all the sound there. I mean, the game seems to, like, load. But the sound effects are just brutal. Just cutscene waiting for it. Yeah, okay. It might be supposed to be audio here. For them to talk or something, but yeah. They're all breathing and swaying at the same time. Camera. Yeah. And that'll come eventually. Like, in a game like this, that might be prohibitive to play it at that point without audio or anything, so... Let's go, team! Huge tutorial here now. Great. Yeah. And that's the thing, that will come eventually, right? The fact that we have this in the first place is pretty impressive. There we go. Alright. Well, this is the greatest tutorial ever. They're not even yammering on. I can just... I'll just do my thing. But yeah, there is sound effects. Now, I'm just afraid of turning it up because if the audio comes back with that huge, horrible glitch there, that's not good. I don't know what they're telling me. I'm sure it's something important. So what's, Chris, I know you're really big into the Saturn. What are some of your favorite 2D games on the platform? Because the 3D games are impressive and everything, but I know the strength for the Saturn will be the 2D. Well, it's not even worth ruining the speaker. I'm going to ruin everyone else's speakers too. It's like sending out the brown tone here now to everyone, basically. Boy, this has a lot of gravitas when he talks here now, when I don't even know what he's saying. Big Landman. I look forward to playing this when this is feature complete. So Guardian Heroes did not work. We did the first one. Oh, Scud is 2D. I thought that was 3D. The Disposable Assassin? Yeah, I can't do anything. He's just talking. That's X-Men, right? I don't think I have that one. I can get it. am acquiring it right now. So, boy, this tutorial is just brutal. We did 3 Dirty Dwarfs earlier. That one's really good. Boop. Oh my goodness. There you go. And it still has time to mature, right? It needs a lot more time to mature. This core is shaping out to be really impressive. Yeah, the Children of Atoms are not. It's not going to finish, but we do have like some of the other beat 'em ups or fighting games. I'm not a huge on fighting games, I will say that. So there are some that looks really impressive, of course. I know this is a game that gets requested a lot, and it's probably one of the games that everyone kind of raves about as being a great, like, Saturn exclusive, right? Bleep bloop. But this is getting a little tiring on waiting for the constant, like, what they're saying. I don't know. What say you? We're watching Zero Wing, which is the all your base are belong to us. There's a lot more in that intro that's pretty funny. The translations are pretty great there. Well, they're saying a lot of things, I'm sure that's very important. The movement is really cool. Bloop, bloop. Okay. Alright. So let's see. We had Scud. You mentioned that. Got a few other ones in here. I was going to try... we do a Warcraft as well. There's a lot of good ones on here that are interesting to try, so... yeah, Guardian Heroes does look interesting, and it's one I'm eager to check out when we have that fully working as well, because we were able to watch the entire awesome intro, but then the game would not launch when it came up, so... well, nice. Yeah, it's a good system to have for your CRT, for sure. Synergy. Yeah, I was trying that out. The Battle Arena Toshinden seems like it ran pretty okay. I remember all the magazine ads for this game. I never really played it. I remember seeing the ads for it. Even a PC Gamer. I think it was a PC version of this one. Wait. CD loading. So yeah, this is a little quicker in that sense, I'm sure, than CD. Oh, we have the same kind of... also 480i. Interesting. For sure. The video is quite sharp. I don't know what happened there, but... let's play. This is 2D then? Or a mixture? That's pretty clever and fantastic. A hidden thing. Yeah, some of the stuff works really well, but again, we're really close without being quite there. Because a lot of games have glitches, and I mean, the PlayStation Core went through this for a long time too. Bug fixes and things, and...
Heartbreaker Model 1373. Scots are disposable robot assassins. They're supposed to self-destruct when they kill their first target. This one didn't.
Oh.
5 people before me were hired to kill Scott. Dick Smothers' neck was broken. His brother Tom was decapitated. I guess death is hereditary. The other 3 didn't fare much better. They all found Scott, and they all got killed.
This is...
Pavlov.
Okay. Dog for a head, and a giraffe with cowboy boots.
Even the head of Jane.
Oh, how silly.
I'm combining the information they gained and loading it into...
yeah, Loaded is one of those top-down shooters, right? I played that a lot on Loaded and Reloaded on PC. And we get the nice crackly audio there. All right, that's enough of that cutscene. Let's see if the game actually loads. Loading. Because yeah, there was a lot of ports, of course, but there are some unique games on the Saturn that you can't play anywhere else, too. Okay, so it's kind of like an Abe's... Also very loud. I'm going to turn down just a smidge. So it's got a very Abe's Odyssey feel to it. It's got a cool vibe to it, for sure. I'm just terrible at it. That's the problem. It's so zany. That's cool, though. Yeah, this feels extremely 90s zany. Yeah, I'm a little hard here. Was this... I mean, I think this was on PC as well, right? Was it port anything else? Was it just Saturn? Was it PlayStation as well? I'm gonna blow up here now, but cool music. Hard to avoid all the damage. Goodness. Very much feels like, you know, the kind of like pre-rendered 2D. Very Abe's Odyssey look, so. I think they are. Saturn exclusive? I could have sworn there was a PC port of this where I see PC ads. Maybe I was like Computer Video Game Magazine or something. Or one of those like multi... You can do like a John Woo. Yep. That's awesome. Double flying gun, yep. Game over. It's hard, there's just so much on screen to sound at the same time. Yeah, there's a Metal Slug port on here too, I think, so... It's hard to focus, and I have not tried it yet, no. I haven't been into the MiSTer as much, not necessarily because MiSTer's bad or anything, but I just haven't gone... That's where the gun attachment probably... Yeah, I'm not doing this right here. Oh, whew. That's just, a lot at the same time. It's cool, but let's see what else we can try. I'm gonna try a couple of games here now at the end. Yeah, this is difficult as heck. So we do have one that I know is very highly regarded too, which is like one of the premier versions of Bomberman, Saturn Bomberman. So there was a port of Metal Slug here as well. One of them. Yeah, we have a lot of games. So yeah, X-Men Children of Atom is completed. extract it, and then that's playable. That's right, Radiant Silvergun. So there's so many games to try out on here. We're gonna run out of time here soon, but we got the same kind of crispy audio going on. But I think this one uses 2D to great effect, so. Swedish Europop. Fantastic. Now, the volume was quite loud in the backstory. Bomberman. Welcome. Good evening. Good morning for you, maybe. Yep. We are bombing ice creams. Is a normal thing to do? Yes, walk into my trap. Dang it. Going great. There we go. Take that. But yeah, the audio is still crackly, so that is kind of a deterrent to a lot of these games. A little bit still, I mean, again, nothing against the core. I mean, they'll get there, of course. But it is difficult unless you just turn things down. But visually, this looks great. Super sharp, super crisp, fun graphics. But I know the Saturn Bomberman is kind of like highly regarded, so yeah, for sure. Thanks for stopping by. 60 FPS. Appreciate it, and hope to see you next stream again. And hopefully my internet holds up for the next stream as well. What happens with Bomberman? I usually get overzealous eventually and just take care of myself, if you will. Oh, hi. LeBloom. Clown destroyed. Be careful with the sound there. Yeah, I mean, there's a Dino Blaster, right? I played that on a story, but it was on Game Boy. I have that on Game Boy in Europe. And the Dino Blaster had like a story mode where you followed through and did stuff, but might be... I think Dino Blaster was some other stuff too, but... Boom. Later. Yeah, Bomberman. I don't want to turn it up too much because some of the audio is good, but then you get into that like horrible screeching thing going on. I don't know, I'm on a teacup now. It's Bomberman. What a good version. And this is where, like, you know, you get the kind of like this amplified version of 16-bit graphics, which look just... This is super colorful and gorgeous. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of games on here. I do have the Premier RPG Experience, which is Virtual Highlight. That's the one everyone wants to play. Or for Pete's sake. Oh, and I did it. See? Took one with me. Alright, if we play one more game after this, what would be the choice? You know, these poor, like, amusement park enjoyers are just here to have a good day, and here comes Bomberman, like, I'm gonna bomb everything. Sega touring car? Anyone else have any specific request? Because I think Sega touring car may have some problems. I'm not sure how well it works. So Radiant Silvergun, yeah, that's a good one, because that is also, it feels like another defining one for the system, and we talked about it earlier. I've never tried the Saturn version, or Saturn. I've really only played Ikaruga, which of course is the sequel to Radiant Silvergun, right? So, oh. We should try Ikaruga. Or Ikaruga. Radiant Silvergun. Walk into my trap. Yeah, the audio certainly is not sounding great here. Boom. Alright. So I think we have to switch to the different region for this one. So we'll go to Japan. And then we're going to go to there. And let's see how Radiant Silvergun runs. Yeah, I think we played Galactic Attack earlier, right? A shooter. Pretty sure we did earlier in the night. Woo! Let's see how Radiant Silvergun runs. Ah! Everyone awake now? We're going to do a reset first. Just to make sure it's not anything there going on. And we have to just turn on the audio. And that's again, that's going to be pretty, you know, par for the course for a lot of these games. They don't have all the sound implemented yet, so yeah. So we're going to turn on the audio to nothing. And at least we can see it. And this runs at 480i, interesting. At least here. So yeah, that does not sound good. The GameCube version, yeah, the Ikaruga on the GameCube is pretty good. It looks gorgeous. Oh, your character's really slow. I don't know what all these things do. I know there's different, like, colors for weapons, right? I do not know how to play this, because the whole thing is the color switching, right? Oh, you have the sword. Aha, take that. Yeah, this one is not... Let's just call this one not feature complete yet. But it's cool. I have so many buttons, I don't know what they do. Yeah, the sound that's still glitching out on my screen here, or the on my speakers, is just ridiculous. So, yeah, maybe we can finish on something that's more functional. We do have, let's see, we have the Japanese version loaded now, so maybe we can find another Japanese game here now. We do also have some of these Sonic games. And I just grabbed a few of the ones that looked interesting. I was going to say, we have something that's Japanese only here. I think I have another translated one. Sky Target, and what's that? Is that a US? Probably, yeah. Let's see, Sky Target. Let's see if that worked, because that audio was just not good. That's one of my favorite things to do, honestly, with these, you know, these things, or these things, these cores. It's super fun to explore, especially playing games that either would have been too expensive or just never would have chance to play them if you didn't have a platform. And there's emulation, but this is so close to real hardware. It is really fun. It's a great way to mess around with this, and that's kind of how I did with the PlayStation 1. I just started getting games that looked interesting, and it may load or may not load. It would be nice if we can end the night on a game that actually works, but we'll see. This might be one that's not low. Oh, it did load eventually here. There we go. Now we got some freaking Top Gun stuff going on here. Oh my, we got some extremely cheesy over the top 90s rock there. That's fantastic. And loading. I guess this one is more true to the real loading time, so. That's true. You walk outside here, you just hear that music blasting all the time, right? Some American flags waving in the background. Got some loading times, but yeah. You only hear pieces of that music, and then stops every time. And there goes the crackling audio again. I don't know if we can do anything except the F-14.
This is flight deck. This is flight deck. Ready for takeoff. Good luck and
Good luck. And loading. My God, that's a lot of loading. I have a feeling I'm getting a shot down immediately on this one, so. Yeah, it's, you know, you'll never, it's like, yeah, the Dreamcast is such an unattainable goal at this point. I might see it in the future. You never know if there's future FPGAs that could handle it, but that, I imagine, will be a very complex one when we get into Dreamcast, PS2, and GameCube territory. My goodness. At least with software emulation on that kind of stuff. It works pretty well. There we go. This is very arcade. Box 2, Ford 2. It's literally Afterburner. It plays well enough. I like the, they didn't go overboard with the visual effects. Like, it's running a little sluggish, but they didn't try and, like, add... Oh, damage. That was unlimited missiles, I guess. The range is a little smoother. This would be awesome. Armored bomber halberd. Oh my. Am I fighting a bomber? Wow! Get the guitar out. You feel like a fighter shooting on a bomber shouldn't be... It's really hard to dodge the, I think that's always the thing when I'm playing Afterburner. I get shot down so easy because I'm just terrible at judging the distance when the, thing's hitting me. There we go. Took him out. Yeah. Hit red parts. Thanks for the power chip there, Chris. Yeah, I got the 14L5 PVM, so it is multi-format, so very useful for me. And it looks really good on here. I don't have the action cam set up now to show it, but the I was gonna say, it works really great.
You're not bad, but you haven't tasted real warfare yet. Hang in.
You're not done. Let's send out a... So that's a Blackbird? Okay. You shooting down the Blackbird? I think that's generally frowned upon. Yeah, this is, you know, reeks of arcade machine. And now B2 bomber. Okay. A rampage. Well, slowing it down is all the transparency effects on the shots. Danger. Oh, 10% health left. It's fine. This is fine. 0%. Oh, wow. End. Ugh. Yeah. That's intense, but cool. Yeah, maybe we'll call it there on that particular game there, but that's a good one to end on, I think. Oh no! We're fine. That was a gratuitous, like, explosion there. And very over-the-top game over screen. Game over, yeah. But, yeah, I think that the core is still incredibly impressive for what it is. Yes, it may seem rough around the edges, but, I mean, we've gotten so much in such a short amount of time. Especially when it came from, like, I mean, a year or two ago, it was just like, oh, that seems impossible. We'll never get to Saturn. And then, like, SRG320 is like, hold my beer. And he started working on it. And we've gotten this far already that I think that within no time we'll have a fully functioning core. And at that point, the MiSTer will keep expanding. Especially now we're getting N64 too, possibly. I mean, PlayStation thing alone I think is awesome. So it is fun to experience, and we'll probably stream it again in the future when it is a little more feature complete. And we have more options to play because, again, some games were great. The audio is definitely the rough spot still, so. But I do like the Saturn. See, I do own one, Chris. It is right here. I just don't have any games for it, except, like, this is what I got. 4 games. So I'm probably going to OD for this one as well, so I can actually play all the games on it directly. And it feels like the next natural step, just to get this one more useful. Exactly. I mean, he's in Ukraine, so can't exactly be demanding anything from him. It's a miracle he's even able to work on this, so. But, yep, it's a fun system to explore. I have a lot more to mess with it. But there is more to explore for sure, and we'll do it in a future stream. If my internet holds up, which it did tonight the entire time, fortunately. I've only dropped 61 frames out of 3 hours. I'll take that for sure. So, whatever. Alright, thanks so much, everyone. And sorry you can cry yourself to sleep again, Chris, over selling your Saturn for pittance, now that they're worth a lot. So, especially Burning Rangers. But, alright. Thanks, everyone, and hope to see you again at the next live stream. Good night. Have a good one. Fire, fire. Orga flame.